across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Good afternoon to you. Just gone 4 o'clock. We're live across the UK with, well, how can we describe this amazing television/radio station? It's the home of common sense. They're all grabbing that now. Common sense, free speech, your chance to be on between now and 7 as ever. Loads to talk about. Just three. We've got no Jodie. Right, lose the music a minute, lose the music. We've got no Jodie today. I don't know where she is, gallivanting. We've got some bloke called Kieran. So he's new, he's fresh. Don't frighten him when you ring up. Just speak clearly. OK, say hello, what is his name again? Kieran. Say hello, Kieran. 0344 499 1000. Very excited if you say hello, Kieran. 0344. Imagine he's called Bill. 0344 499 1000. You can use that number as well for WhatsApp messages throughout the show. Ryan is back. I had a very bizarre moment with Ryan's family over the weekend. I live down on the coast. Mrs. Kyle said, "Go get me some eggs." OK then, boss, and something I don't even know what. So I go off to Sainsbury's and I park, and I found a bit of an argument with the Karen because I parked in a children and babies thing because I had the car seats in the back, sodder. Anyway, and I went in and this bloke went, "Hello," and I went, "Hi." And he went, "I'm Ryan's brother." So, bizarrely, 200 miles from working with Ryan, I end up in Sainsbury's with his brother and sister-in-law. And then we FaceTimed Ryan, who was at home alone. Anyway, never mind. 0344 499 1000. Also text, as ever, throughout the show, 87222. How can you have avoided or how can you have missed the main news story across the weekend? I don't know if it's of interest to you. I've always said on this show, we'll throw out what's there and it's up to you. Prince Andrew could be the first royal to face a police probe in 20 years. We know the story. We know the Epstein story. We know the lies about no more contact. We know Virginia Giuffre's sort of beyond the grave autobiography questions Fergie. We're going to speak to Matt Wilkinson, the Sun's royal editor, very soon. But what do you make of it? Is it time? I mean, he's sat in Royal Lodge. Prince William undoubtedly will want him out. Does he get banished abroad? Are they terrified that he's got secrets? What's he going to do for money? Because I tell you one thing about those two, when the money runs out, then they're in trouble. Apparently the king, persuaded by his son, was forcible last week, but where does it go from here? What does it say about the monarchy? Does it give true credence to the people who believe that the monarchy is dead and buried? 0344 499 1000. This story is guaranteed to send me, OK, through the roof. A Labour-run council has axed a Remembrance Day poppy display amid its crackdown on flag flying. Locals in Hoyland in South Yorkshire. If you are from Hoyland, South Yorkshire, can you phone me up, please? Will no longer be able to commemorate their fallen heroes by placing a large wooden poppy on each lamppost. It follows updated guidance from Barnsley Council, which bans attachments to posts with road signage. The Hoyland Remembrance and Parade Group said the installation of a tribute for each of the town's 396 fallen soldiers from the First and Second World War along the 1 mile Armistice Day route has now been made impractical. We are now facing, right, councils who will say you can't fly the Union flag, you can't even put up a giant poppy. Men and women died for us to be where we are today, and we're now apparently not able to commemorate their death and what they did for us. I think it's an absolute flipping disgrace. Barnsley Council, Hoyland in South Yorkshire. If you live in that area, if you've got an opinion, would love to hear from you today. 0344 499 1000. And while we're at it, information today that, you know this grooming gang scandal in Rotherham? You'll have heard the story. 8 years it took the police because they were worried about upsetting the local community. That's what they said. Still, we're to find out who the chair of this national inquiry that, frankly, the government have been dragged to the table to make. Now we find out that a grooming gang victim has quit the inquiry panel before it starts because they absolutely believe it will be a cover-up. And if you're talking about covering up as well, Sadiq Khan has been accused, quite rightly, of facilitating the cover-up of child grooming in London. He's always said it's not a problem, it's not a problem. There is now definitive proof that it is. If you throw into the mix the other great story from the weekend, we've got a full house, haven't we? You know the one in, one out? I call it the Labour farce. Well, we're almost at 60,000 have arrived. We've reached an unbelievable number. We've sent 82 back. 82 against 60,000. Work the maths. 0344 499 1000. I thought I'd have a restful weekend. It didn't work out like that. We'll say a very good afternoon to a man who has an incredibly restful life with a beautiful woman and a future, unlike me. I mean, I've got a beautiful woman, just no future. James Price, good afternoon.
It's been said of me I don't so much fish for compliments as trawl for them, so I know it when I see it, my friend.
I'm not sure I'm going to allow you to keep your fishing licence, though, you horrible French person. Can I start, actually not with Prince Andrew, because I'm sort of bored of that. Can I start and take aim at Hoyland, South Yorkshire, Barnsley Council? I'm proud to be British. I'm very proud, contrary to popular belief, of what this country has been based upon. I have strong views on what we're doing at the moment. That doesn't mean I don't and haven't welcomed all sorts of different people from different countries who have, in fact, made this country better. But we're at a crisis point right now. Now, we've got Wokerati Council saying you can't even put up a giant poppy on a lamppost for health and safety reasons when it's patently obvious to anybody that this is an extension of the madness about the flags, JP.
Yeah, the whole thing about this is enough to drive any patriotic Englishman's blood to boil, isn't it? There's nothing, I think, almost that we hold more dear, more sacred, actually, in this country than the service that our grandfathers and great-grandfathers and all the rest performed in the two world wars that they so valiantly fought in. It's become more than just a memory. It's become a myth. It's become a legend. And it's become everything that we hoped that we would, if we were in that position, live up to and strive to emulate those the efforts of those great heroes. And the littlest, smallest thing that we can do is to put up various signs of remembrance when it comes to the 11th of November, to wear the little red poppy, whether it's the metal one that I do, because otherwise I keep messing them up, or the paper one, and all the other little bits and bobs like that you see around cenotaphs in villages and towns and cities the length and breadth of this country. And this idea that, oh no, it's for health and safety, you can't do it. I mean, if that is true, then that is just completely pathetic.
But we know it's not true. That's a goddamn excuse. It's part of this ideology that we now live under, isn't it?
Right, and I fear that is partly the case. Very dangerous to express opinions. I suppose the one thing that this health and safety person is right about is that it is dangerous to express a patriotic sense towards this country anymore. It's dangerous to wear a Star of David if you're a Jewish lawyer out in the streets, because he got arrested for that recently. It's dangerous to be quite visibly Jewish, I think, as other policemen said. It's dangerous to say anything online anymore. These are the kind of dangers that the state is not protecting us from, but it wants to protect us from what? A wooden poppy hung on a lamplight. I mean, come on.
I do get to a point, and you hear it every week with me. It's like being married. I honestly don't know where this ends. We were brought up the 5th because of what the old man did was always important. There was the cenotaph. I went to Oliver's in the Cubs, you know, like the young Cubs, and they did an amazing thing last year. He carried the flag, and his grandfather was so proud of him. You're commemorating people who died to give us the liberty that we so seemingly want to throw down the Kazi today. And I think it's an appalling. Honestly, I think it's absolutely outrageous, Jay. I really do. Barnsley Council, terrible.
If you were intent upon trying to damage or to destroy a nation, one of the smartest things you can do is to attack those foundational myths. And we've just discussed that, how important these things are. One of the most important and powerful things you can do if you wanted to actively destroy a nation would be to say that its past is not glorious, but instead is evil and full of despicable, wicked people. Absolutely. To say that the things that you hold most dear, whether it's the cenotaph in the centre of the village, whether it's the remembrance of our soldiers, whether it's all the great achievements of the past, it's just done by old dead white men, and that Shakespeare is racist and that so-and-so is racist and all the rest of it. And so if you're deliberately doing it, that's what you do. And yet that seems to be happening anyway.
But do you know what does my head in? All those whinging gits that say things about Shakespeare, or they say it about Churchill, or they say it about world wars. And my daughter's told me their lecturers will gladly stand up at university and say the Brits are responsible for everything. These are apologists for the colony and all that. They never give us any credit for ending slavery. They never give us any credit for all the good things we've done. Right now we're having a hard time, but we've become, and this is what I find so appalling, right? We've become apologists, and I am absolutely not prepared, and I don't care where it takes me, Jay, you know this of me. I am not going to erase, in my mind, everything that's great about this country, everything that got us to where we are, simply to worship on the altar of an ideology that makes no bloody sense. You might not like what went, but you wouldn't. All these people that have come to this country, all these people who live here and have no intention of working, all these people who are apparently concerned, as you said, about all hurty words. Men and women died for you to even get those bloody benefits or even have the freedoms that you have. What about a bit of respect, right?
Absolutely right. A phrase that people should take into their breasts today after hearing this is this idea that tradition is not the preservation or the worshipping, sorry, of ashes. It's the preservation of the fire.
Absolutely.
And that what those people got up and over those trenches to fight and to die for, what my grandfather did in those RAF bombers and what others did around the world to preserve liberty and to preserve the customs and traditions and history and mores of this island, of what Churchill said was our island story, or the history even of the English-speaking peoples. Nothing about race in there, by the way.
No.
Right? Nothing about race at all. The English-speaking peoples in the world today, in Australia and New Zealand and Canada and America and Britain, far more ethnically diverse than they are on the continent, or certainly anywhere else in the world. So nothing to do with that before anyone wants to get their knickers in a twist about it. You should be proud that the history of the English-speaking peoples, as you said, made the modern world. And instead of kowtowing, instead of being apologetic, instead of saying sorry for all of our greatness, people should cast this off. And the one bit of hope I'll give you on this is that the left in this country, and I include, I'm afraid, our disgusting little Prime Minister on this, does hate that great tradition, hates our flag, hates our traditions and our culture and our history and all the rest of it, which means that those of us on the right, whether you're in the Conservatives or the Reform Party, whatever it is that fights the next election, whatever form that takes, we get to claim the mantle of our entire glorious, wonderful history from Alfred all the way through to the present day. And we should use that, and we should be proud and honour ourselves in defending it. Our grandfathers had to fight in world wars about it. All we've got to do is fight a bunch of disgusting socialists and bureaucrats.
Do you know what? I couldn't clip that up. He's absolutely spot on. It's disgusting. Jade from Sheffield, you'll love this. Me and my son are now genuinely making giant poppies to go and stick up in Hoyland. I'm going to do it. I'm so angry. Pete. Yeah, here, bloody here. Good for you, Jade. Pete, voice note, go.
I am livid hearing about the bloody excuse from that council to not have them poppies up. I am absolutely livid. It's absolutely disgraceful. Who are we bowing down to this time for? Another excuse. They should be ashamed of themselves. Shame, shame, shame on them.
And I don't meet anybody who doesn't agree with Pete, who doesn't agree with Tracy in Wakefield. It is a disgrace that Barnley have banned the poppy. Labour Council, so what the hell do you expect? They will be gone in May, trust me. Says people up there. If you do live in Hoyland or Barnsley under that council, would love to hear from you. That's one madness and one thing that is intent on winding... Do let me know what you think, by the way. We're going to ban the poppy next. Jesus Christ. Grooming, I took this up 3 years ago. I still can't believe that the police in South Yorkshire, Doncaster, Rotherham rather, said, you know, we didn't want to create tension, so we took our time, and of course a whole big, you know, argument arose about, you know, who was responsible. There's British Pakistani men, yes, the people who are against me saying that. Yes, there have been white men who have raped young children, but this was in itself a specific group. Sadiq Khan's always been, you know, the person who stands up and says, you know, London's about diversity and London's about, you know, exclusivity and all this. Never talks about the fact that knife crime's prevalent. Turns out he's been accused of helping to cover up abuse by London grooming gangs after reports of young girls being raped, despite claims and none in the capital. The mayor has been criticised by child safety campaigners today, as well as senior Tory and Reform MPs, as reports suggest that youngsters in the city have been plied with drugs and had their lives threatened, and evidence of concerns about gangs of men carrying out such abuse in London were taken from Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services between 2016 and 2015. Right? In a statement, ladies and gentlemen, on Drive, Sadiq Khan said, oh my God, I'm going to go mad. The mayor has always been clear that the safety of London is his top priority. Watch James Price's face. And nowhere is this truer than safeguarding children. Sadiq is committed to doing all he can to protect kids in London from organised criminal and sexual exploitation and bring perpetrators to justice. James Price, what a load of waffle.
I hope he's enjoying that knighthood of his. I mean, what a disgraceful little toad of a man. The fact that he has denied this has been happening for so long and that there is now proof of it, that everybody else could intuit. You've only got to live in London now to realise the social, the broiling social and cultural problems that those of us who still are unfortunate enough to live in London face all the time. My wife takes the dog for a walk in what used to be quite a nice neighbourhood. Someone has been told that the dog's saliva cancels their prayers and is so scared they kick him. If she gets attacked, people in the street, I can hear a siren outside my window now. Goodness knows what it's about. This is the kind of London that Sadiq Khan has created. Actually, crime was at its lowest level in a very long time under Boris Johnson, someone I'm very happy to criticise in all kinds of ways, but he was a damn good mayor. And what Sadiq inherited, he has turned into the most steaming pile that my dog tends to leave out on the street that we pick up, don't worry. But it is absolutely disgraceful. And I think that if people really realised the extent of the horror that has been happening in this country to young children up and down, then I think the country would tear itself apart. And other countries I think, are unable to believe, and nice, normal people who don't read this story are unable to believe what has actually happened. And you've only got to go and read some of those court transcripts to realise the depths of horror that we have let happen to our most vulnerable and precious resource in this country, our children, on our watch, and we've not done as much about it as we should have done because we don't want to be called.
And just very quickly, there's some breaking news, but very quickly, one of the people that was an abuser, an abusee, if you like, somebody who was a victim, who was going to be part of that inquiry, has pulled out because they think it'll be a cover. I think it's one of the biggest miscarriages of justice. I think it's a massive stone. We have some breaking news, like your response straight away, JP. The writer Graham Linehan, is it Lynham or Linehan has said that he will face no further police action. This just into talk after his arrest. You heard about that at Heathrow. In a statement, he's just said, the police have informed my lawyers that I face no further action in respect of my arrest at Heathrow in September. After a successful hearing to get my bail conditions lifted, one in which the police officer in charge of the case didn't even bother to attend, the Crown Prosecution Service has dropped the case. With the aid of the Free Speech Union, I still aim to hold the police accountable for what is the latest attempt to silence and suppress gender-critical voices on behalf of dangerous and disturbed men. Your response to Graham Linehan, not going to be prosecuted. We should never have been arrested, should he, JP?
Absolutely right. It's completely bonkers. People should remember that he was met at the aeroplane by 5 armed police officers and got so worked up and frightened by this obvious miscarriage of justice that the poor guy ended up in hospital. Absolutely disgraceful. And 2 quick things I'll say on this. There's one, well done to the Free Speech Union for helping him out on this. And everybody, I'm sure, there are other commercial alternatives out there, but people should all go and join it in case you get after them. And I'm a nobody compared to Graham Linehan, but Mrs. Price and I have had the conversation of what happens if I say something that's perfectly sensible on Twitter and the Rozzers knock on my door about it. And we've got a little protocol in place, and maybe you should too, JK.
Well, yeah, I just make them a cup of tea. It's big news for Graham Linehan. I can't get it right. I'm joking. Because, of course, we then have this debate. We talked about the child grooming. Let's sweep that under the carpet. Let's stop the poppy. Let's stop the flags, and let's basically have a police force, it seems, that is interested in saying to people, you can't say that, but other people can say those things. There's no lines, there's no nuance. It's an absolute disgrace. We should, in a democratic society, be able to stand, I think, in front of somebody who would disagree with they with you and you with them for all time, and have the debate in a perfectly mature and decent way. But it's not like that anymore. It's not like that anymore. And I to me, it's utterly frightening. The other thing I wanted to pick up upon with you, if it's okay, I mean, this again, I mean, it's just like daily rubbish on this show, isn't it? Labour's small boats farce. Well, one in, one out. Since he came to power, we've reached 60,000, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, 60,000 illegal migrants have landed in the United Kingdom since Sir Keir Starmer, I'm going to smash the gangs, became our Prime Minister. At the beginning of the year, he got together with another toad, Macron, and they both said, yes, brilliant. I love what Trump did to them. And they decided on this one in, one out. Yeah, that's not gone very well. 60,000 in, we've reached the unbelievable figure of 82 out. Thoughts? Joke.
Well, look, even if 1 in 1 out had been successful, that still doesn't deal with the problem.
No!
You have a huge number of people in. It should be lots and lots and lots out and none in. Just to put it into context, since 2018, when these small boat crossings started...
I do apologise. Breaking news. That Ryan, how can you say that to me when on the sheet it says 82? Ryan says it's only 42. So Ryan has made a blunder, ladies and gentlemen. He's gone... This is what he said in my ear. He's gone, you know what, Jez, you've just given... It's not 82. It's 42, and there, as clear as day is day, it says 42. So you, Ryan, are crap. There we go. So actually, you're right. 42 in, 42 out doesn't deal with the 60,000. But we had 1,000 and we gave them 2. I mean, it's ludicrous, man.
I just want to put it into context for people. So since 2018, when this crisis started and the small boats started coming over, there have been more than twice as many people who've come over in small boats as we have regular fighting members of the British Army. I don't like saying let that sink in, but let that sink in for a second. This is completely bonkers. And of the people coming over, it's sort of almost 90% of them are adult men. They tend to put a woman and or a child in most boats as well, because that makes it more likely that the Navy or charities and stuff go out and help them. And because there are different rules. So we've got 90% odd of those people are going to be fighting age men in third world cultures. And we've started seeing more and more news stories about in Brighton recently, as well as what these chaps get up to. And I've even heard reporting from some journalists who say that they get shown footage on phones of young girls sort of, wearing going out dresses, going out saying, get yourself over to it, this is what you can get your hands on. That we've been reporting about. I mean, fewer soldiers than we've had for a long time, fewer police officers, and I wonder why things are starting to feel...
Our priorities is, if you just look at what we talked about, you can't put up a poppy at the Barnsley Council because that's a health and safety disaster. Young might, maybe from a working class family, maybe broken home, with special girls are being victimised and raped the length and breadth of this country, not just by the British Pakistani men, Rotherham, before you all jump up and down. And we're doing nothing about it. The establishment is happy to sweep that under the carpet. All of that, and on top of that, we've got a government that says we're going to do it. We had 60,000 illegal people in. And when people say, oh, but Jez, it's not fair to speak like that. These people come from war-torn countries. They don't come from war-torn countries. They come from where it's not, you know the drill. And I believe the bullies are great. But when you don't vet young men, and you say what you best in Heathrow for daring to have an opinion, gender critical, oh my God, you horrible, nasty, vile man, you disagree with who? You? Right. You have your opinion, I'll have mine. That's what common sense is all about, isn't it? Back in 3.
There is an organisation called the Centre for Media Monitoring, which grew out of the Muslim Council of Britain, and it is there supposedly to monitor the media and to identify examples of alleged Islamophobia in reporting. And they've claimed things like the news reports that Salman Abedi, who attacked the Manchester Arena, chanted Islamic slogans before detonating his device, that those reports were Islamophobic for saying that.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, 4:28. We're live across the UK. Loads to talk about. We'll get your calls on. You might want to talk, as we said, about the poppy ban scandal. Barnsley Council, you can't have a poppy up now, you disgrace. Not on lampposts, it's a health and safety thing, is it really? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you concentrate up there on children being abused? South York, that's not happening, is it? The inquiry, the grooming inquiry. One of the people who was a victim has already walked out of that inquiry saying it's going to be biased, and today we discovered that, what's he called, Sadiq Khan, I can't say that. He who said there's no problem in London has now been hit by information that it is. So loads of that to talk about. And the big news, Graham Linehan has that top man, by the way, written some great stuff for TV, and was arrested at Heathrow in September for daring to have gender-critical views. Case being dropped today by the CPS because actually, thanks to the Free Speech Union, we're allowed to have free speech. There's that. And there's also the biggest news story of the weekend. We are delighted to be joined by the Royal Editor of the Sun, host of the Sun's show, Royal Exclusive, Matt Wilkinson. I phoned up Ryan yesterday and said, you need to get the main man tomorrow because everybody will be at him. Prince Andrew could face a police probe. Become the first member of the royal family to be investigated by police for more than 20 years. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here and you're going to hate me. Who was the last royal to be investigated by the police?
Oh, interesting. I know Princess Anne appeared in court.
Yes.
So is she the last person to be investigated?
That's all I was thinking when she was attacked in the Mall. Didn't she have to turn up? But I can't think of a royal that was probed. I don't know the answer. I just wondered if you did. I don't know. I can't think back 20 years. See if you can find that right. What to be investigated by the police for more than 20 years. She wasn't investigated, she was a witness. No,
it was also, if we're going to go down this rabbit hole, so to speak, is about her dog. I believe that her dog was, she was fined for her dog attacking another dog. And she appeared in court with Princess Anne.
He's dead right. That is
bucks.
why he is the Royal Editor of the Sun. You see, I did that deliberately to make you look good.
Thank you.
Explain to me, we talk off air, we talk on air. There's words today that the MPs are demanding legislation to strip him of his royal titles. He's lost the Duke of York, he's lost the Order of the Garter. What he's left us is the birthright of being a prince. What is left for Prince Andrew? Seriously?
Not a lot. I mean, at the moment, so obviously he still keeps hold of this title, and it's almost an effort by the King to save a bit of time. To save a lot of Parliament's time.
Yeah.
Because if he had, forced Andrew to actually give up the title fully, he would have to go to Parliament. He'd have had to have kept the Duke of York title for that duration of time, which would have been unpalatable, and it would have wasted a lot of time with Parliament.
There was a lot of pressure to be brought on Andrew, wasn't there, last week? I think William was probably central to it, and I think the King finally developed a pair, but it is his brother, and it's a very difficult thing, because I suspect, without saying the wrong thing, people will always look in the mirror and say, what have I done wrong? But this guy he's a car crash. He's beyond a car crash now. I mean, and I said to you off air, I won't lie to the audience, I said, don't you think he should go? And you went, where?
Well, this is the problem. This is the problem last week, and we tried to explain it in the articles that we've been covering, but we were getting word at the start of the week, after the Sun on Sunday wrote the story saying that he'd lied about when he contacted Epstein. That was the final straw, the final of final straws. That really stunned the palace, and it stunned the King. They knew they had to act. So there was a lot of pressure on Andrew throughout the week to do the right thing. They wanted him to make the right decision rather than it be forced on him.
Yeah.
They wanted Andrew to make the statement, and as I say, he got dragged kicking and screaming until the end of the week, when he finally put that statement. And even that statement is a little bit mealy-mouthed. I'm not overly happy with that statement. You're not really showing any contrition.
No contrition at all for the victims at all. I completely with you.
I think he was forced to it forced to do it. Otherwise, they would have said to him, "Right, we'll go to Parliament. We'll make MPs debate you. We'll have you, discussed all over the papers for months and months and months, and it'll go on. Let's just have a clean cut now. You hand back these titles." I think one of the most, or give up the titles, not hand them back.
Yeah.
But one of the most important things I think for them was Beatrice and Eugenie. We've seen a photograph of Eugenie today. She's been at Royal Lodge. Honestly, she looks absolutely devastated. And I think there is concern, particularly with the daughters, that they're being tarnished by the sins of their father. And the belief was that it would be unfair if they were to completely abolish the York House, completely take away the title. It would mean that they would lose the York title, they would lose certain rights, and they didn't think that was fair. So between Andrew and the King, they came to this agreement so that it would kind of be a little bit kinder to the daughters.
I think in the mix should also be Prince William, because it's no secret to anybody that he was livid the other day at that funeral, the Duchess of Kent, and he wants them out of Royal Lodge. Now, I live 3 miles away. It's very difficult in the world that we live in. I'm a hopelessly keen royalist, but this madness about him still living in a huge house with servants and all that, whatever you say, is going down like a cup of cold sick with people who think the monarchy has passed its best. And there comes the point at which the King, and certainly William, because I think sooner rather than later, obviously he will be king. I don't know, you're right. People have started saying to me, what about his mental health? What about Fergie's mental health? We have to always acknowledge that's the case, right? But we also have to say, your mental health was fine when you were begging Epstein for money and flying on his jet and allegedly doing all these things that you were doing. And she's been a piece of work for years, right? What do you do? I mean, is the King terrified of banishing them? If they banish us, they'd sell their soul to any television network or newspaper that would want their story, wouldn't they?
Well, I suppose that is a possibility. The thing that's sick.
Imagine if he was banished. Where would you send him? I don't know. I mean, any newspaper will pay millions for that story.
Yeah.
And you say he hasn't got... He's going to have stuff on the royal family, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, it's the fact that they don't actually have any levers to pull.
Yeah,
they've done absolutely everything, and they have to persuade Andrew to make that decision himself. And it feels that that's what they achieved last week. You're right about William. He was seething about the Duchess of Kent's funeral. I was there. I was standing outside, and William afterwards was absolutely seething. And there were beginning to be meetings that something needs to be done, but it was that email that proved that he had lied that really kicked it over the edge. But I'm quite sickened by the emails that we've seen over the weekend where he's trying to besmirch Virginia's name, and you say whatever you want about Virginia.
Well, let's talk about this.
And people do, but it's the fact that Andrew appears that his first reaction after he hears about this woman is to immediately start thinking about, right, well, how can I...
So the accusation, which is central to this police probe, is that he used his... we scored special police bodyguards.
It's a close protection officer, taxpayer-funded bodyguard, yeah.
And he said to him, there's a name, there's a date of birth, there's a social security number, go and dig some dirt. If that is true, if he's used that, I mean, that is... And apparently there's a guy called Perkins, who was the Queen's deputy press secretary, I think, or deputy... He emailed him and went, I'm just using the Met Police to dig on her. I mean, that's extraordinary, man.
Yeah, I think it's a despicable behaviour. But one of the things that has been pointed out to me, was sources I was speaking to are saying that this may not be criminal behaviour, because it's very unlikely that this very professional, senior, experienced police officer would do such a thing, because he would know that he'd get in so much trouble. And it's more a kind of desperate Prince Andrew being naive and arrogant.
So where did it go from that? They've got to presumably speak.
This is what the police are trying to work out, and it's not like an official investigation at the moment. They're looking into the reports.
I don't mean to say the wrong thing to you, you're a royal editor, but I suspect many people listening to this, if I said, could you imagine a police officer from the Met Police doing something that wasn't quite 100% straight? And they go, yeah, all the time, Jez. So God knows what happened. I'm not besmirching the guy, we don't know, but it gets worse and worse on a daily basis. I read, and we had this off air, I read in some paper, not as great as yours, that there are concerns now that she might even turn on him, Fergie, when she runs out of money, because he's just been... I mean, they're as thick as thieves, but is that likely? God knows, mate. It's a mess, isn't it?
Well, look, they're incredibly close, and I know that they're both at Royal Lodge at the moment. I mean,
separate ends of Royal Lodge.
Separate ends of Royal Lodge, but there's huge pressure on the pair of them. I cannot see Fergie walking away from Andrew, because if you remember when Andrew gave up his title, Sarah's also given up her title, so they are lockstep in how they're reacting. And I say they've got their daughters are very, very stressed about this. But Andrew has brought it all upon himself. This is something that's been going on for 15 to 20
Do you
years.
think he could see? Could he not see what was going to happen?
He's never faced up to the responsibility. He's never shown really any kind of contrition or understanding the impact of what he's done. And I don't think he has understood. I mean, looking at that statement he put out, it feels to me like a man that was dragged kicking and screaming to make that statement. Otherwise, what on earth would happen to him? One person, we were talking about, kicking him out of Royal Lodge. He's got a cast iron lease, and one person did say to me, well, what are we meant to do? Sit outside with the king and a bulldozer and say, Andrew, you've got 5 minutes to leave Royal Lodge. That's the situation. It's like a siege of Royal Lodge. He will not leave it.
In terms of the monarchy, something that you and I both believe in fervently, where does this leave the people who say the monarchy's past its sell-by date?
Well, it leaves them a couple of crises away from, of being past its sell-by date. We've currently got the King. The King was out today and he was absolutely brilliant. He was up in Manchester at the Jewish Centre where
Absolutely,
the synagogue, and there was hundreds of people out there to see the King. So there's still this huge level of support for the King and the power. But we are, we've got the Dukes of Hazzard, haven't we? We've got Prince Andrew, the ex-Duke of York, and Prince Harry, the current Duke of Sussex. They're the Dukes of Hazzard, heaping so much scandal on the royal family. If that infected Charles, infected William and Catherine, then I think that the people that are saying we shouldn't have a monarchy, or the people that think that they are one step away from disaster, then we could be if we get another scandal going on to William or Catherine.
Do you know what's really... I know we have to break, but do you know what's really interesting? Before the old man died, do you know what he said to me? He said, the problem with the monarchy nowadays is that there's no mystique. Of course, I work in the media, you work in the press, and at the end of the day, the royal family have had to integrate that into their lives. But the frightening thing is, if you step back, and I'm a royalist, people in the end are going to go, and that's a real tragedy, because there's no doubt that and in this world we live in now, the next thing I'm going to hear is that somebody's cancelled the monarchy because, we should be apologising. They still create huge interest, huge revenue, but he is a stain, isn't he? Just very briefly, what do you think happens to Andrew?
Well, if he happens to Andrew, do you know what? I've been asked this the last couple of weeks by the palace. What should we do to Andrew? They're kind of like, what on earth do we do? I mean, he needs to make the big decisions himself. I suggest he goes and finds a friend that he knows in Bahrain or Abu Dhabi or somewhere like that, and goes and have a quiet life, and someone else funds him rather than the the royal family or us. Really
interesting. Great to have you on, and great coverage. There'll be more in the newspaper tomorrow, I'm sure. Matt Wilkinson, Royal Editor of the Sun. Thank you very much indeed. This is Talk Drive 0344 499 1000. You can be on between now and 5. Give us a call.
the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back, 18 minutes to 5. There's so much to get annoyed about and uptight about and call about. Obviously, the story about Barnsley Council, who have basically axed a Remembrance Day poppy display amid its crackdown on flag flying. That's getting you going. We'll do a call on that and some stuff in just a tick. You might be wound up about the grooming gangs inquiry that's no nearer happening. In fact, one of the victims has already pulled out, saying it's going to be a cover-up. Sadiq Khan, a man who said, there's none of that in London. He's had to face the truth today. Yeah, lots of young kids have been abused in London. Time for him to step up to the plate. The farce of boats in and out gets worse. And this has just landed on... This is just brilliant. The government, old Lisa Nandy, she who once believed she was good enough to lead the Labour Party, she is, of course, the Culture Secretary, has just stood up in the Commons. This appalling decision. You might have... You know that the Maccabi Tel Aviv, the Israeli team's fans at next month's game against Aston Villa, they were banned by Birmingham City Council in conjunction with the police. Now... the critics of what can only be seen as an anti-Semitic move have pointed the finger at the independent MP Ayub Khan, who won on the seat by standing on a Gaza ticket. Nothing to do with the people of Birmingham, just Gaza. That'll get you elected. He apparently is behind this. The government under Lisa Nandy have just said the ban on the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans at next month's game against Aston Villa is wrong. And the decision, says Lisa Nandy, has been made absolutely under the backdrop of anti-Semitism. Full stop. But she also said, and I quote, it's a matter for the police and a risk assessment will be carried out. Lisa Nandy, you coward. Lisa Nandy, if you believe that this is anti-Semitic and you believe it is politically based, your bloody government with a massive majority should jump all over Birmingham City Council right now and do the right thing by that team that has Jews who follow them, but you won't, and we know why. You don't ally yourself to the independent MP Ayub Khan, but you're terrified that more of your seats will go the way of independents who trade on one thing and one thing only, and that means you're letting down the Jewish community and the people in Birmingham who have every right to go and watch that match. Call it to 5. We'll say a very good afternoon to the political... I'm losing my breath. The political editor of The Sun, Jack Elsom. Jack, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Jeremy. Very well, thank you.
How bad's that, Lisa? Sorry, am I missing the point with Lisa Nandy? It's a matter for the police. They've got a massive majority in the Commons. Why don't the government see it their duty to make sure this ridiculous decision to bag Maccabi Tel Aviv fans at next month's game against Villa is reversed? We know why, because they're terrified of the Muslim vote, aren't they, Jack Elsom? That's the truth. Surely it is.
Well, we were told on Thursday night when this decision dropped that the Prime Minister was furious and was incredibly angry about the decision. But, words only get you so far. And so the obvious questions are, what action are you going to take? We then found out the next day that he had dispatched his Home Secretary, his Culture Secretary and his Community Secretary to go to West Midlands Police to try and come up with a plan to overturn this decision. We're expecting West Midlands' final decision to come either tomorrow or Wednesday. And I think that the Home Secretary is piling pressure on West Midlands Police to draw in resources from maybe other forces to make this go ahead. But most people, I think, will find it extraordinary. And listen, you do have some situations where the police are operationally independent, but for the elected government of this country seemingly to be so detached from the decision that has been made, despite the fact that it basically brings national shame onto us all, the fact that they can't even keep the streets safe for some Israeli fans, most people will find absolutely beggars belief.
But you know what, Jack? The national disgrace to me is, and I said it at the beginning of the show, why I'm pleased that Graham Linehan has been, not facing charges, is we have to accept as a country with free speech, right? Mm-hmm. That we might hear stuff we don't agree with, but that's the essence, I think, of free speech and common sense and democracy and whatever. He might well jump up and down, Starmer, and go, this is outrageous the Israeli fans have been banned because the police say it's unmanageable. But that's like the people who say it's all right for the Palestinian protesters to march, but not the Jewish. I read a story at the weekend. A guy was arrested because he had the Star of David outside his shirt, and that could wind somebody up. If you're going to arrest him, why are you not arresting Palestinians shouting from the river to the sea? It's one way. And politically, if I'm honest, this plays right into the hands of the Ayub Khans of this world, because he stands on one thing, which is the Muslim vote, Gaza. To me, this looks of Labour being terrified, Jack. That's how I see it.
Yeah, totally. And some people have tried to make this an argument about hooliganism in the ranks of the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. There is hooliganism in virtually every single football club in this country, and you're always going to get cases of a fringe minority wanting to cause havoc at football matches. The police don't just go ahead and ban all of those away fans from going to the football matches. What they try and do is police it to the point where they limit the disorder. The fact they haven't chosen to do it in this case, and Ayub Khan in his statement actually said quite a bit out loud, where he says that this is politically sensitive, and that is why these fans shouldn't be allowed in. I'm sorry, but Israel is an ally
one way. It's all one way, and I'm going to say something, whether it gets me rubbish or not. I don't like any form of racism, but anti-Semitism is as racist as Islamophobia. It winds the hell out of me that we seem to not think that people who can be racist towards Jews are not as bad as people who are racist towards any other colour or... I think it's disgusting, any form of it, but the Jewish community, that is appalling. While we're on appalling, sorry, it's just one of those afternoons, Barnsley Council again. Why is the Prime Minister and his government not jumping up and down? If you're just tuning in, this is Barnsley Council of a Labour-run council, obviously, have axed a Remembrance Day poppy display, but it's cracked down on flag flying. Locals in Hoyland will no longer be able to commemorate their fallen heroes by placing a large wooden poppy on each lamppost. It follows updated guidance which says that this could be dangerous for health and safety. Jack, I know you're half my age, kidder, but you can't fly a flag and you can't put a poppy up. What the hell's happening to our nation? Because it's embarrassing. It's frightening.
Yeah, it's totally baffling, and you really don't know at this point whether it is just left-wing councils trying to trample on, poignant days of remembrance, or whether it is just sort of petty council nitpicking about, various different, bylaws of health and safety. But either way, I think that most people will think it is completely outrageous and should be overturned. But it's become symptomatic of town halls, public bodies in this country, that they seem to just totally ignore proper serious days of national remembrance and on the altar of petty killjoyness. And I think that is a real shame. Are
you in a hurry? Have you got to go and talk to the Prime Minister of afternoon tea with the King or something, or can we come back after the break? Tell me, because if that's important, I'll just go. Your shout. You're very important now.
I'm always very important, Jeremy, but what do you have in mind?
Well, we need to carry on talking. Just sit there for 3. Back in 3.
I know that newspaper editors have safes full of stuff on him and on Sarah Ferguson. They put money and their pleasure above anything and anyone else, and we're quite happy to agree. Sarah Ferguson, hello, I know you're convicted of trafficking girls who are about the same age as my daughter, but could I borrow some money off you? Could you give me some money? They've never met a billionaire they didn't like. Yep. Doesn't matter how dodgy they are. I've just got no time for these people.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
With the political editor of The Sun, Jack Elsom. Jack, let me read this to you. Rachel, I'm a Barnsley resident. I'm elated you covered the Poppy scandal. Barnsley Council has done this out of spite. I find it incredulous that they have legitimate safety concerns. Many locals believe their agenda could be related to the patriotic flags that have been springing up as the poppies have been displayed on lampposts for years. Arrogant left Barnsley Council who perpetually patronise the intelligence of the residents like the government. Never any engagement with their council taxpayers. They're lying about their concerns for the health and safety of highway users. If they really were, they'd make an effort to clean up the epidemics of fly tipping, litter, dog mess and illegal parting. They, like the government, are a disgrace and an embarrassment. And that's why I put to you about Starmer, because it's all right to say, I think, I support the flag. I think it's outrageous the Israeli fans can't go, but we don't see him going further than trying to placate those in his own party whilst trying to say the right thing. But again, a really good example of how Starmer never goes far enough, does he?
I think there is becoming a sort of a trend with this government and a trend of criticism, which is that they seem to be mere commentators rather than actually players. They are not just a sort of a body which sits on the side and commentates on UK events and domestic woes. They are actually players, and one with a big majority at that. And we've seen it in the Chinese spy scandal. We've seen it in the policing decision with the Maccabi fans. We've seen it in lots of decisions. I do think that clearly the government wants to stress that a lot of these things have operational independence, whether that's the Crown Prosecution Service in the case of the Chinese spying, whether that's West Midlands Police in the case of.
But mate, I'm not going to go at you because you're right. You're right, and you're doing it correctly, and I'm not.
But I was going to say a big but.
Yeah.
Which I think is that the public do expect more, and
Absolutely.
if the government and if our elected government who wields executive and parliamentary power, if they can't step in, then who the hell can? And I think that is where there is a disconnect between Keir Starmer, the lawyer who wants to do things by the book, and then the leader of this country who sometimes actually has to ruffle a few feathers, pick a few fights and go for it and reflect where the vast majority of people are at.
Completely and utterly agree with you. It's almost like, and he sacks people, so we know he's got it in him. I don't know. It's almost like I'm going to say that to try and placate that side, but I don't want to go too far and upset anybody. I'm completely with you. I look at this every single day. I mean, poppy bans, flag bans, the child grooming thing, they had to be dragged to having that inquiry today. One of the victims has walked out saying it's going to be a cover-up. You look at immigration. Just to sum up, mate, 30 seconds, we say this every week. It gets worse and worse for this man, doesn't it?
Well, it's very difficult for him at the moment. I mean, he's being squeezed on all sides. Clearly, we've just found out that he's going to go to the COP climate summit, right? He wasn't going to go to that before. Now, and many people dismiss this as a pretty pointless talking shop. Nothing ever gets done. The big powers like India and China never agreed to anything. So it's only Trump's not going, and so
of course he's
it
not.
Just seemed like a talking shop
because he's trying to deal with immigration and crime on the streets in America.
Exactly, and Starmer is now deciding to go to it because clearly he's feeling under threat. He's clearly feeling that the Reform voter base, they might have just gone, right, and they're not coming back. I think that's made a calculation that actually he's now bleeding votes on his leftward flank to people like the Greens, the Lib Dems, your party, and so he feels the need to placate them as well. But, the sign of a leader is to really sort of grasp the nettle and take people with you rather than just trying to bend whichever way you think the political weather is
So you've broken the news, ladies and gentlemen, if you've tuned in just to absolutely nail it. Sir Keir Starmer, not listening to any of us who think net stupid zero is a joke, is going to COP30. When is it, Jack?
It's in a few weeks' time. It's early November in Brazil.
He's going there. See, this is my point. And you and I mean, I don't have to agree with his policies. But if I was being told that the grooming gangs inquiry was central to people's concern and you're dragging your feet, if I was being told by my people that you better get immigration sorted because these numbers are an embarrassment, if I was hearing that Labour councils were saying to people, thank your grandparents for losing their lives in giving you liberty, but I don't give a toss. We're just going to worry about health and safety. I wouldn't be going to Brazil. This is why I don't understand I genuinely don't know who can possibly advise these people, because every decision, Jack Elsom, seems to be a catastrophic mistake.
Well, I do think there's a tussle at the heart of government about what is their strategy, because on the one hand, they clearly know that people who are flirting with reform, many would have voted Labour at the last election, they need to make a big play to try and win those voters back. Many of them now very angry with net zero, because Ed Miliband, before the election, promised £300 off bills, and bills are going up. We saw him squirming over the weekend about that promise. Still sticks by it, but, you know, the proof will be in the pudding, and I think many people are now not very optimistic that's going to happen.
No.
On the other side of the coin, you've got him being squeezed by his leftward flank, and he's bleeding votes to people like Zap Balansky of the Green Party, Jeremy Corbyn's Your Party, and even Ed Davey of the Liberal Democrats. And so he's caught in this bind here where he's trying to fight on both fronts. And what it spits out is pretty incoherent political posturing. And I don't really know at the moment really what the direction is of this government, and trying to sort of have a general story of this government at the moment seems to be pretty lacking.
Listen, you're a legend, mate. Thank you for giving us your time, as ever. Get it all in the Sun, the political editor, Jack Elsom. Thank you, my friend. News on the 5 next. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Breaking news this hour. Starmer's going to Brazil. I wish he'd bloody well stay there and cop out.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
About a couple of minutes past 5. What an hour that's been. Stories falling in on us. More examples of this government on its backside, right? In the last 10 minutes, Jack Elsom from The Sun exclusively revealing that Sir Keir Starmer has decided he's going to go to COP30 in Brazil, you know, where they've had to destroy a rainforest to get their private jets in, despite that must create all sorts of carbon emissions. God, Lord, what are we going to do? But he's going to go. He wasn't going to go, but he's going to go now, despite the fact the majority, I'll get told I'm wrong, a large number of people in this country think that net zero is a stupid thing and it's going to cost us money we haven't got. Ryan makes a really good point during the news. He's absolutely cornered Starmer at the moment. Think about it, right? He's fighting off people who now look at the Greens. Old Zach Polanski, the man that makes women's breasts larger or did as a hypnotist. He's garnering votes, so maybe going to COP30 encourages those people. Oh, stay with me at Labour. He's got the threat from Jeremy Corbyn's Fruit and Nut Party. They're all lefties. They'll all go and hug a tree, wouldn't they? Unbelievable. Honestly, tell me if I'm wrong. On the day that Sadiq Khan has had to sort of acknowledge that kids do get abused in London, there is a rape grooming problem. No, Sadiq, it's not about diversity. It's about dealing with criminals, knife-wielding criminals and sexual predators. Where are you all calling this out when you're all jumping up and down going, oh, that's important, that's nice. He's got anxiety, but have a month off. No, let's talk about kids being abused. Where is Sir Keir Starmer with that? Where is Sir Keir Starmer when Barnsley Council are banning people from putting giant poppies up that commemorate the dead, who gave all the people like Keir Starmer and Sadiq Khan and all those left-wing idiots the chance to live an entitled life in this country? But we're not allowed to commemorate their death now because that's a health and safety initiative. No, it isn't. That's absolute tosh. That is because, apparently, that means we're celebrating a war or Britain winning or something like that. It's an absolute joke. We honestly, why isn't our Prime Minister here dealing with our immigration problem? 60,000 in, 42 out, another 42 in, as somebody pointed out, because it's all balanced out. This country is going to the dogs. Israeli football fans can't come and watch Aston Villa play in the European League for Maccabi Tel Aviv because the police in the West Midlands have gone, do you know what? Actually, it could be quite difficult, so we're going to ban them. Are you? So what do we get in the last hour? The Labour Minister, Lisa Nandy, stands up and says, we disagree. We disagree. We think we should. This is absolutely wrong. But we'll leave it to the police, because you don't want to upset a certain section of Birmingham's voting community, do you? Because you haven't got a pair. This government gets it wrong again and again. 0344 499 1000. We'll go to Hampshire. Roy. Oh, I'm mad, Roy. You're on Talk Drive. How are you?
Hello, me old mate. I understand how you feel about the poppy, mate. The poppy is not religious. Isn't it? Or political.
No.
It's to remember the glorious dead.
Yep.
You think of the thousands of Yorkshiremen that must have died in the First and Second World War, people all over the world that died, and it's to remember our glorious dead. As the old saying goes, when you go home, tell them of us. For your tomorrow, we gave our today.
Absolutely. What do you make of Barnsley Council? What am I living in now? What's wrong with it? I mean, how can we not commemorate men and women who gave their lives to give us what we've got today, which we're doing our best to flush down the toilet?
I live in a little village, mate, Overton. And as you drive in, there's 4 roads or crossroads. On all the lampposts, we've got the great big poppies. And it's every year they put them up. It doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't, you know. It's just a ridiculous statement.
To be on me. Are you embarrassed increasingly about this country?
Well, I'm an old soldier, mate. You know, I mean, my last bit was the Falklands. And
thank you for your service, my friend, and I mean that.
Yeah, but, you know, my grandfather, he was in the Boer War. My dad was in the first. I had 3 uncles in the second. And myself and my 3 brothers, we all served the country. And what's happening in my country, I just can't believe it.
Listen, I'll tell you one thing. I won't stop doing this for people like you. You're absolutely the reason I'm sat here. God bless you. Thanks for your call. Roy in Hampshire, we love it. Let's go to Manchester. Chris, you're on Talk Drive. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, Jeremy. I'm afraid I'm going to have to disagree with you, and surprisingly for me, I'm going to have to agree with Lisa Nandy, although I don't necessarily agree with her.
Debate is fine, Chris. The debate is important. What's your point? What's this? Is about the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans?
Yeah, I'm a retired cop, and I did work in public order, so I do have some knowledge as to how these things are risk assessed. The police have made a decision together with the local safety group. I think that's what they're called. I don't agree with the decision. I think it's a poor decision, but they've made it. Presumably it's evidence-based, and I think they should leave it at that. They certainly shouldn't get... You said before that the government have a massive majority. The last time I looked, I didn't see any experts in public order on the government front or back benches. So
no, I take that point, but my concern then, maybe I should put it differently. My concern is that this is or sounds very much like a political decision. You've said that the local safety group will have made or influenced the decision based on evidence. It would appear to many people from the outside, maybe we're wrong, but it's important to put it, that there is a segment of Birmingham which is elected an independent MP, Ayub Khan. He didn't say anything about Birmingham, it was just a Gaza stand, and he won it. I wonder whether the government is being less than, maybe not as forceful as you think I gave the impression, but is getting less involved and washing its hands a little bit of this, because I'm sure it could bring private pressure to bear. Apparently they're trying to anyway. If they weren't terrified of stirring up a hornet's nest and losing still further votes. That's what annoys me. And I also, I can't believe it's evidence-based. I think it's political, mate. I think they're all terrified. I think it's... Let me put to you as an ex-copper what we were told 3 years ago about the grooming gangs thing in Rotherham. When I heard a police officer, I didn't even know what force it was, but say, we had to tread carefully for 8 years because we didn't want to create tension in the community. To a lot of people listening to this, that means you've sold those 8-year-old girls that were raped down the river. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I'm a little bit concerned about this whataboutery, you know, the what about they allowed a march and what about they allowed this and what about they allowed that. That's irrelevant. The police and the safety group or whoever makes the decision have to do that independently in isolation of anything else.
Okay.
They can't be concerned that a march happened to take place 3 weeks ago. That's not their job. And this is not a...
Does it not strike you as weird that... Listen, you know more than me, but does it not strike you as weird that this is the first time we've heard of anything like this and it just so happens to be an Israeli team?
Well, with respect, it's not the first time. I mean, I recall on at least 2 occasions Leeds United supporters being banned from away games. So there's certainly not a precedent for this. As I say, I don't agree with the decision. I think it's a poor decision, but the decision's been made. Presumably it's evidence-based by experts who know what they're talking about. I don't think it's any place for the government or anyone else to get involved who frankly don't have the expertise to challenge the decision that's been made.
Listen, it's always great to get all opinions. Can I ask you one very quick question? The police that you used to serve, it's changed immeasurably, hasn't it, my friend?
Well, I've been out 13 years and I wouldn't go back for a gold clock. I loved it. It was the best job in the world. There were days where you would go to work and you would think, am I really getting paid to do this? You would do it for nothing. Sadly, I don't think that's the case today.
Great to have you on, mate. My regards to... Oh, Manchester red or blue, by the way?
Neither. Stockport County.
Brilliant. Good lad. Get off. 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. 10 past 5. Monday... Is it Monday? Yeah. Monday afternoon, we're live across the UK, and the First Lady of political commentary, my First Lady, the best, Isabel Oakeshott. Good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, good afternoon. Well, although I didn't agree with a word of what Chris there, or very much of what Chris there said, I did love the way he described how lucky he felt to do his job back when he was doing it and how he couldn't believe he got paid to do it. And, you know, there are very, very few people that are lucky enough to be in that position. And it was lovely to hear someone that was that...
So when I started the show an hour ago, I thought we'd be talking about just the Poppy Band scandal. But, I mean, everything's just jumped in, so I'm going to throw lots at you without you getting too angry. Let's start with the news 7 minutes ago. In the words of your partner, Richard Tice, net stupid zero. We've now heard that Keir Starmer's done a 300... I don't know how many turns he's done. He's now going to COP30, the bizarre, weird, green net zero conference that they've had to dig an Amazon forest out of to land all their guzzling jets in and their big cars. And the theory here is that because he's bleeding votes to reform and the Greens and the Fruit and Nut Party and everybody else, that this is absolutely him trying to scurry around and stop the tide. And so he's going to go to Brazil, despite all the problems he's got in this bloody country of ours, to try and shore up that side of his unpopularity. It's an extra... Who gives a... Am I missing the point? We've got grooming gangs, we've got crime, we've got weird, bizarre councils. What's going on?
Well, I think in a sense, you are missing the point. And
Thanks.
the point is the one that you just voiced earlier, which is that this is him desperately trying to kind of hold on to the left of his party that loves a bit of cop. You know, they love all of that stuff. I think politically, As you said earlier, he's sort of between a rock and a hard place on this one. Half the country's going to absolutely hate it, and then there's a small and vocal percentage of the country that is shrieking that he must go. I think that on balance, it would have been politically smarter not to go. As it is, I wonder whether he's just going to kind of fly in for a few hours.
No, here's the thing. To him and the bacon sandwich boy, are they going to go on the same plane? Because if they go on separate planes, how much is that going to cost with carbon emissions shooting out the back as they disappear into the rainforest? It's ludicrous, man. This country's on its backside and he goes off to that. Hug a tree, my arse.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is the same story every year, isn't it? COP comes round and it's all an absolute circus, you know, and a bunch of people virtue signal about this and that, and it's just a whole load of NGOs and actually commercial companies. There's some charities there. It's just a great big kind of shindig, isn't it? Where the people in this sector every year get to go on holiday somewhere different, and a complete circus, I would call it. I think that for Keir Starmer, obviously there was a political dilemma here. I would have said it would have been quite smart politically to say, you know what, on this occasion, I don't need to be there. I'll let Miliband do what he does best, which is be totally fanatical about this. But I, Keir Starmer, can see what a state the country is in, and I am going to stay here. That
is exactly what I was saying earlier. There seems to be the optics are rubbish. Let's talk about the other bit of news in the last hour. Lisa Nandy stands up. This is the Maccabi Tel Aviv football fans. The Israeli team have been banned by the West Midlands police from attending the European game in a couple of weeks' time. The police have said that it's because of security concerns. You disagree with Chris. It's important we get both sides. My absolute opinion of that is that isn't it interesting this is against Israel? And isn't it interesting that this has been led by the independent MP Ayub Khan, who was voted on a pro-Gaza ticket, didn't say anything about, the problems in Birmingham, he didn't care, but one of them, and he says this will stir up confusion. Lisa Nandy stands up in the Commons and says, well, we disagree violently, wrong word, we disagree completely with the police, but it's for police to deal with. So we're just washing our hands again. I disagree with Chris, I do think the bloody government, again optics, could jump up and down and say that's completely unacceptable. I just don't get it. I don't.
I mean, it's for the government and the Prime Minister to provide leadership. Yeah. And in my view, it is the actual job of the police to make sure that no unrest happens, or at least to contain it. I mean, how is it that every year we allow the police in London allow the Notting Hill Carnival, which has a proven track record every year of violence. Mm-hmm. It's an unusual year where there aren't terrible stabbings at the Notting Hill Carnival, where there aren't literally hundreds of arrests. So how is it then that the Notting Hill Carnival is allowed to take place every year and there's no police saying it's unsafe? Because on the basis of the evidence, it very definitely is unsafe. And now we've got this football match. There's no actual evidence to say previously that these fans and these supporters have caused problems in Birmingham. I know what happened in Amsterdam. We've got to hope that there wouldn't be a repeat. But my point stands. There's no evidence that the
point is, unfortunately, there is violence and hooliganism at many football matches, less so than there used to be. To simply say, if you were a police force saying, we've got proof of 30 teams where their supporters seem to want to fight. But this is the playbook for me. This is an Israeli team. We're going to say it straight away about an Israeli team, and we're going to take... To me, it goes further. To me, this is a fear amongst the Labour government of speaking too much because they will lose the Muslim vote in the Midlands. Let's talk about another reason why he should not be going to COP30 in the last hour. Graham Linehan has released a statement. The creator of Father Ted, an IT crowd, has said his lawyers have been told the case won't proceed. This is a guy, a very famous guy, who was arrested last September, 5 armed police at Heathrow Airport for apparently, different views on gender. He's been completely humiliated, lost all sorts of things in his life. But he says, thanks to the Free Speech Union, sense has been seen. Again, Starmer must know this is barking bloody mad, but we hear and see nothing from our leader.
I mean, perhaps if the police weren't spending their time sending, riot officers to the houses and properties of people that say something that's a little bit colourful, then they might have a few more resources to police footballing events. I mean, this is just absolutely it was crazy. That whole thing was completely crazy, and what a waste of time and energy it's been. And of course they had to drop it, but you know what, you can't rely on anything now. I don't trust our police not to make crazy decisions. I don't trust the Crown prosecution not to make crazy decisions. I think we're in a whole new climate now. Just before we finish up on the football thing, Jeremy, I just want to tell you about a really sobering conversation I had this weekend with a Jewish friend. He told me of a Jewish friend of his who has been in hospital undergoing major surgery in an NHS hospital, and a kindly doctor who was treating him warned him, on no account let your medical team know that you are Jewish. I mean, that sent an absolute chill through me. Imagine that. Imagine being Jewish in the UK today and being afraid, or being told you should be afraid, of letting on if you are needing surgery or you're needing NHS treatment, and being told, for goodness sake, don't let on about who you are and your
I
heritage.
found myself the other day, I think you might have heard me say it, I was at the airport and traditional Jewish couple, and I just went up and went, sorry. The thing is, I said it already, there isn't a racist bone in my body, but I'll tell you this, I don't understand why anti-Semitism isn't viewed as appallingly as anybody who's racist to a person of colour. And all we ever hear about is the government's definition of Islamophobia. We hear about, this decision because we don't want to upset this, the Rotherham grooming gangs. We don't want to upset these British Pakistani men. Well, we do, actually, because they're raping young girls. I don't care the colour of their skin. Why do we not show the same respect to the Jewish community whose lives have been blighted? Yes, I'm sure there are many people that look at what's happening in Netanyahu, but you're right, I've got friends whose kids still can't go on the bus 2 years on, in their blazers, because it's a Jewish school, because they'll get abused, for God's sake. That's why it's all wrong.
Make no mistake, Jews are leaving Britain, or they are planning to leave Britain. They are afraid to be on our streets. They expected a horror like the horror that happened in Manchester. Of course, it's a shock when it happens, but they have been dreading and fearing this happening for a long time now. And I said it before, I'll say it again, they feel completely abandoned. And when the government sort of washes their hands of a decision like the one that's been taken by West Midlands Police, that just confirms everything the Jewish community already feel.
Absolutely.
It's an abrogation of responsibility. This is not a safety thing. I'll tell you what it is. It's a surrender.
I completely agree. And just because you're on a roll and you and I are like two peas in a pod, I started this show about the Labour-run council. This is in Hoyland in South Yorkshire. They've axed a Remembrance Day poppy display because they'll no longer be able to commemorate the fallen heroes by placing large wooden poppies on each lamppost, because the council have said you can't do flags, you can't do poppies, it's a health and safety risk. What the hell, on a serious note, Isabel Oakeshott? You're smiling, but no, I understand why you're smiling. We now can't commemorate the people who died and gave their lives, which is why all these scumbag wokeratory idiots have the entitlement and the benefits and the life they have. I think it's really disgusting. Disgusting. Dreadful.
I mean, I'm with you on this, and you started off the program. You started off when I switched on to listen to you talking about what the hell is happening to our country, and I can't tell you how many people I talk to who feel that we're in last chance saloon, who feel that there's only a few years left in which any of this is reversible. It is so much worse than I think you and I and many of the people that listen to our program could possibly have feared.
Completely agree with you. It's completely. I never thought there was this madness. I didn't realise there was this level of madness. You can't put up a poppy. You can't put up a flag. You can't say, actually, you didn't do very well at that task. You need to do better. Oh my God, I'm too stressed. But we've got judges who say, yes, thank you very much indeed for sexually assaulting a young girl. It's just because of your poor upbringing. What does that say to everybody who's had a poor upbringing, who's never broken the law? There's so much wrong with this country, and I hate the fact that I sit here every night moaning about it, but it needs to be called out, doesn't it?
Look, none of us want to be a, moaning, whinging, negative person. I don't live in my country at the moment, but I love my country. I'm British. I have left in despair, like so many other people, and I'm continuing to fight in every way I can from a long distance. My partner is giving everything he's got to this cause. No one is giving up on the UK, or at least. I mean, actually, some people are giving up, but they don't. The people I meet who are leaving the UK, and I'm meeting them all over the place all the time, they're leaving with such sadness.
They'll come back. They'll come back.
They want to come back. They do want to come back. But for many people, it's reached breaking point. And of course, the vast majority of people who feel this level of despair can't just up sticks. That's a tremendous privilege. I'm more than aware of that. Most people can't just leave, and we've got to fight to make things better. I'm afraid we're going to carry on calling it out, being angry, being negative. It's not unpatriotic to be angry, to think that actually our country can be so much better than this, and it has to be.
Completely agree with you. Love having you on, mate. Thank you so much. The brilliant Isabel Oakeshott, live and exclusive Talks International Editor. What is it, 5:24? Can you try and get Mark Ashworth on that email? That'd be great to get him on. 0344 499 1000. That's the telephone number. Voice notes to Ryan, same number. Oh, God, I've just seen Bridget Phillipson. Oh, dear. Need a biscuit. You can text 87222. We're coming back in 3 on Talk Drive.
Sadiq Khan and the Metropolitan Police Commissioners have continued to deny trauma suffered by grooming gang survivors.
The evidence is sickening. Children as young as 13 raped in London hotels by groups of men. It's all there in the official reports that the mayor personally read. And for I don't know how long now he's been saying that there's no grooming gangs here. But his own documents, the same ones that he responded to, is exactly the same pattern, or a similar pattern to what we saw in Rochdale. The evidence is there in black and white.
Right.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. The amazing Lindsay, Kinsey Schofield, and just a tick. I just want to get some of these out because people are outraged. Dan in Silsden in West Yorkshire. On Saturday, a group of lads put giant poppies on every single lamppost. Approximately 2 miles up the main road, a few flags as well. It looks great. We are under Bradford City Council, which is obviously Labour controlled. So let's see if they give us any grief. Good afternoon to Keith in Shrewsbury. Jez, what is confusing about the stupid council decision is why has this stance now been taken? These poppies have been put on lampposts for years. What's changed? This country has gone to the dogs. I'll tell you why it's changed, Keith, because they're all obsessed with ideology, because they think if you put up a flag or a poppy, that means everybody's far right and wants to make Britain great again. 0344, honestly, nuts. Kevin's in Bolton. There is a process with health and safety. The council would have had to carry out risk assessments. Yeah, all right, but even still it's barking mad. You're probably right, Madge. Let them take them down. It's not a problem. The houses along the route should have a pole and put the poppy and Union Jack flag on it. It's your property and they cannot request that you take it down. Tell them to damn well do one. I love her. David, Starmer didn't know it when he started removing the paintings in number 10. That's true. Lorraine, Barnsley poppies. Perhaps Barnsley Labour Council should concentrate on ensuring justice for all the white, vulnerable young girls who were repeatedly gang raped by British Pakistani men in their area, rather than ban the most revered symbolic symbol of patriotism and freedom. British men died for our freedoms. If you don't like it, then why don't you leave this country? That's interesting from Lorraine. Rachel says, I read Orwell's 1984 whilst I was at school. Never did I actually think we'd be living it out. Steve, you're a muppet, Jezza. Don't blame Ryan. Of course it's 42 migrants out. Get you, Mary. Els in Staffordshire. Ignore them. Put the poppy up. Who do they think they are? How dare they? It's our remembrance for our ancestors who saved our country so they can do one. It really is that simple. Stop moaning and get on with this. Tim says, a little research as I'm exploding over the poppies in Barnsley. It gets worse. For the last 3 years, locals in Hoyland, Berkshire, Barnsley in South Yorkshire, have commemorated the deaths of 396 soldiers from the town in the 2 world wars. Shame on this disgusting bunch of Labour councillors. Terry's in Slough. Jez, I'm 76. My father fought in the Second World War. If he was alive today and could see what politicians, both Labour and Tory, have done to this once great country of ours, he would say, what the beep, beep, beep did I fight for? That's the upset, isn't it? Andy's in Cheshire. In relation to this crazy one-in, one-out policy, oh, my God. Stop saying 42 have left, Jez. That's not the full story, because France has replaced the 42 with another 42 to replace them. So it's 60,000 in, 42 out, another 40... Look, either way, it's another terrible example, isn't it, of how completely useless this government is. My God, there's so many of them. But we have to just take a tick. We have to cross live to... it used to be my favourite city. The rubbish needs clearing now. Kinsey Schofield live in LA. Hello.
What a weekend for the British royal family, JK. Not positive press.
Can I just say thank you? Oh, God, he spilt... No, it's a new man. He's just spilt tea all over my most important piece of paper. Stay there one second. It's not his fault. He's done a very good job. So I thought of you when I was in bed on Friday night.
Ah, okay. Well... I need you to explain yourself.
Well, I was with Mrs... No, I wasn't with Mrs... I was with Mrs. Kyle, actually, but I did think of you because it flashed up about Andrew and I thought, that poor mayor's going to be busy all weekend. Have you been at it? I mean, there's so much I want to talk to you about. I had Matt Wilkinson on from The Sun in the first hour. And he was saying... I said, why doesn't he just go now? And he went, where? What do you do with the guy? And there are now rumours in this country that people are, and I'd love your take on this, you know, they're saying, what about Andrew's mental health? What about Fergie's mental health? That's the world we live in now, isn't it? And I'm not being disrespectful to either of them. They didn't have any mental health issues when they were begging money from Epstein, but there we go. What's your take on the fact that, well, not only has he lied, but he's actually facing a police probe now for using one of his personal protection officers, allegedly, to put her down? It's appalling, man.
I mean, that was the biggest takeaway for me over the weekend because, of course, this is a fluid situation. We're finding out about new details of Virginia's book. Every few minutes, we're finding out new details from the Epstein files that are slowly being leaked in the States. So we don't know what we're going to find out next. I'm one of my biggest takeaways was that it was a 10-minute phone conversation with the king. And initially it sounded like the king was cool, calm, and was just like, this is a burden. I need you to fix it. But the most recent report suggests he said, I will take whatever task I have to remove your titles. I will go whatever route I have to remove legally, whatever, and it will humble you quickly. So you either voluntarily give up your titles, and that there was a threat made. And ultimately that is why Prince Andrew voluntarily gave up. I mean, legally, he's still the Duke of York. A lot of people are looking at this going, really, how are we holding him accountable if technically he still is the Duke of York?
I think that's a really, really good word, because the British public are a wonderful, strange bunch, and I include myself in that. We like contrition. We like an apology, a mea culpa, right? Not once, not on Newsnight. Even that statement was mealy-mouthed. Nothing about him smacks of, look, hands in the air, I've made a catastrophic mistake. I've tried to cover my own backside for years, and I've fallen on my face. I admit it all. I just want a bit of peace and quiet. He still appears...
What about I still strongly believe in my innocence, but I am so devastated over the way that I've embarrassed my family throughout this process. Just be sensitive to the fact that your brother waited 70 years for this job and is having to navigate, while having cancer, your screw-ups.
Absolutely.
Your decades-old screw-ups. Be apologetic to the family that you continue to embarrass and disappoint.
And I think what was really interesting, and I know you'll be strong on this, is reading between the lines. I think there was a massive input here from Prince William, who we know at the Duchess of Kent's funeral, he looked like his head was about to explode as Andrew sidled up to him. There have been reports over here today, sweetheart, that when he becomes king, he will, if Andrew hasn't gone from Royal Lodge already, then he'll be forcibly moved out of there. But here's my question, and I said it to Matt, and I'd love your take. Let's just say they disappear to America, or probably can't go to America, anywhere, and are out of the royal circle, right? If they are as desperate as we're led to believe financially they will become, there isn't a newspaper or a network in the world that aren't going to throw millions in their direction to dish the dirt on the royal family. So is that Charles, yes, I need to be strong, but I don't want them cut off completely. Is it weakness, or is it him doing the job properly? That's another question, I suppose.
I think it's a combination of understanding that he can't have another loose Harry and Meghan spouting. I mean, every time Meghan Markle sits down with somebody, she sat down with Fortune magazine last week, and when asked about her strategy post-royal life, she said healing. Well, obviously that's a dig at the British royal family. They can't have Andrew and Fergie out in the world, behaving in a similar fashion. But also, I do think that he made a promise to his mother. I do believe that to be true, that he promised his mother he would take care of him as much as he could. I don't think that was fair to the king. I don't think that was fair to put that responsibility on him, because I do believe that potentially Prince Andrew was out of control in his younger years and felt invincible. But I do think that the king is a good man that would likely want to try to keep that promise.
See, I don't trust a word Andrew says, so I wouldn't put it. You'll tell me I'm talking rubbish. However much of his back was against the wall, he probably was forced into that. I bet you he did a deal with the king and said, listen, I'll do exactly, but you better help me out financially, mate, otherwise I'm screwed and I will go to a newspaper. I can see that with my hand on my heart, 1,000,000%. And you're right, Charles is a good guy, and he doesn't like, very much like his mother, Kins, he doesn't like confrontation, does he? He's not good at that.
No, and I'll just tell you, the reports over here in the States are that Prince William, once he ascends to the throne, will strip everyone that's not a working royal of their princely titles, their dukedoms, their HRHs, and that his children's are going to be parked until they're adults. And they determine themselves whether they want to be working royals or they'd like to be regular citizens. So I think that is something that Harry and Meghan should be concerned with. We saw Meghan using her HRH title on a gift basket to Jamie Kern-Lima. That is something the Queen specifically said do not do. And so I think that they should be worried about losing their titles and potentially losing their marketability here in the United States.
I've got a text here, Barry in Newcastle. Listen to this. Watch Kinsey Schofield's face as I read this out. Why is Andrew being advised by experts to bury himself somewhere? Surely this guy needs to face justice, go to the United States and face up to what he's done. If I was the king, I would hire the best lawyers, but insist for the credibility of the royal family that he hands himself in and faces up to the truth. Wow. It's not going away, mate, is it? It's not going away. It's not going to. And the point is that I think, Matt, and you make it really well. Where does this end? What do we, for all the people who are quite rightly saying he's done this, where does it end? Matt's right. Where do we send him?
Well, where do we send him? He has very rich friends that have kept him afloat in foreign countries. I don't think it's the United States. I think the second he steps on American soil, the authorities will swoop in and at least try to ask him some pretty tough questions, especially under a Trump administration. I say
Ryan's got a good idea. We've got a new policy with France here about how to deal with immigration. It's called one in, one out. So when we get a French migrant next week, why don't we send Prince Andrew? He could be one out for next week. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it?
It would. I like it. But really quickly, I want to take back what I said. I think Trump loves the royal family too much to do anything to Prince Andrew, actually. So maybe he's safer under a Trump administration. But there's a foreign country somewhere in the desert he could go off to and just disappear. But I think you're right that the only way he would do something like that, the only way he would voluntarily give up all of the perks is if he got something in return.
It's just to finish, I said it to Matty, I'm unashamedly royalist. You are as well. It won't take many more scandals for this royal family, the whole thing, to fall down, and they must know that. This guy, there's nothing left for him to lose. Some of his behaviours, but there's so much, isn't there? I mean, you look at Matt, and I take your point, they don't want another Meghan and Harry, but if you were the king with ill health and William and worrying times as a royalist, Kins, right?
It is, you know, and I just think that the king has to stay positive. We know he's headed to the Vatican to pray with the Pope, and I thought, what an appropriate time, because that is exactly what you need right now, a lot of prayer. I know I'm praying for him. I'm praying for his health. I'm praying for the stability of the British royal family. Thank goodness Prince William was the firstborn, because there is a lot of enthusiasm about that reign. Thank God it wasn't Prince Harry.
I completely agree. How is LA? Have they collected the rubbish yet?
Yeah, they do it pretty regularly in my neck of the woods. You'll have to come visit where I stay. It sounds like you're pretty negative about my hood.
She's invited me to her apartment, the rest of you, see? Yeah, you can do one. JK. Number one. Love you. Thanks so much. Kinsey Schofield live and exclusive from LA. Host of the Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered. It's brilliant. Go to her YouTube channel. Well worth checking out. Do some calls in a tick. Go 344 499 1000. Back in 2 or even 3.
the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
16 minutes to 6 o'clock. Sport with that lovely man, Shaw Custis, on the way. He'll be slagging off West Ham. Listen, this poppy story, Barnsley Council have basically said the Labour-run council's axed a Remembrance Day poppy display amid its crackdown on flag flying. Locals in Hoyland and South Yorkshire will no longer be able to commemorate their fallen heroes, 396 of them, by placing a large wooden poppy on each lamppost. It follows updated guidance from those idiots at the Barnsley Council, which bans attachments to posts with road signage for health and safety reasons. Or is it, in fact, for something else? Because we're not allowed to now even celebrate the fact that the people who gave their lives so that you lot, all of you woke idiots, could have a life. Apparently that's wrong. Let me read this from Laura Donovan. I'm at a loss with this country. My father, rest in peace, along with many other men, went in and liberated the Nazi camp at Belsen, and now we're being told that we cannot support the Poppy Foundation, who help and support our fighting forces and veterans today. My father will be turning in his grave. Good afternoon to Maggie, who says, Jez, the football decision about banning the Israeli fans is nothing to do with safety and all about appeasing the Muslim community. A ban on poppies, a ban on flags. You can't wear a Star of David or a cross. What's next? A ban on Christmas, as it offends certain groups, and this government don't care about ordinary working people. I'm seriously worried about the United Kingdom. And just finally for now, Mark Ashforth, I think this is really important. Mark here from Stocksbridge, near Hoyland. I'm a veteran of 15 years, Jez, and I'm finding it absolutely disgusting that Barnsley Council have banned our symbol of remembrance to our war heroes and loved ones who have lost in service for this once great, amazing country. Thankfully, our little village still has the poppies on the lamppost with names of our villages fallen written on. If any of the veterans or families would appreciate a welcoming, then they are all welcome to come over the hill and come to our service at the clock tower. It's such a disgrace, and the council should feel so ashamed of themselves. Hopefully, they'll see sense, and do a U-turn, or every single resident needs to get out and get as many poppies on those lampposts for this sombre day of remembrance. Great show. That's from Mark in Stocksbridge in Sheffield. Couple of quick calls on this as well. Tristan's in Bolton. Tristan, you're on Talk Drive. What you got, kidder?
Hi, yeah, it's just about the poppy, Jez. It disgusts me. I'm an ex-serviceman. I did 10 years, and it disgusts me that Barnsley Council are banning them on health and safety reasons. Do Barnsley Council actually know what the money goes towards from the sale of those poppies? Because if they don't, and anybody's listening, let me tell you, that money goes to help ex-servicemen and women when they hit hard times. This is really upsetting me. I don't know whether you can tell in my voice, but it's cracking.
I'm not surprised it upsets you. And let me tell you what I say every day until, you know, the left will have a go at me. They'll all jump up and down. I go, I'm not going to say where, I go into, she always sends me to the shop, doesn't she? Every time I go on a weekend, there's a vet, 14 years, and he sits there, he's got his thing up, right? He's been thrown out of his accommodation for the migrants. That's going to wind me up even more. But honestly, if you are saying to people who, and this is what I hate about this woke nonsense. If you are saying to men and women who put their lives on the line to get us the freedoms, the liberties, the opportunities, the entitlement that we have today, do you know what? Sod you lot. You can just sit on the road as far as we can say. We're going to embrace everybody else coming here, and we're not even going to commemorate the fact that we got you your freedom, because that apparently means our history's crap, so we need to apologise. I'm sick of it, man. I don't believe the majority of people in this country agree with this ideology, and it is about time, people, when I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not.
There's a thing called the Armed Forces Covenant, yes, and that is when we sign up, we say, right, we're going to do X, Y, Z for you, government, Mr. Government, we're going to do this. But when we come out, we expect you to do this for us.
Yeah.
And do you know how much they do of that? None of it. Not a bit.
I'm embarrassed, to be perfectly honest. I'm embarrassed, to be perfectly honest, the way that we treat our vets. Tristan in Bolton, thank you, mate. You're a top man. Keep listening. Just quickly to Manchester. Darren, 1 minute on Talk Drive. What you got, kidder?
If the poppies are not allowed under health and safety, what reason are they citing? What reason? There has to be a reason. Not just throw the health and safety flag out, pardon the pun. There has to be a reason. That's the first thing.
Right.
Secondly, if the people at Barnsley stopped traffic and marched down a road, what could the council do?
Be interesting, wouldn't it? Be interesting. It'd be interesting.
Very interesting.
I'm not going to never going to advocate what people should do, but I have to tell you, and I said it to Tristan, I don't believe the majority of people in this country think that that is right. I think it's absolutely outrageous. And again, silent majority, voices will be heard. Big, big, big mistake, in my humble opinion. Darren, thank you very much indeed. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. You can text to 87222. Voice notes as well. We've got sport in the next bit with Sean Custis. We're going to celebrate. Oh, hold on. Breaking news, Councillor Sir Steve Houghton, is it? All right. He's the leader of Barnsley Council. This is what he's just said. We appreciate Hoyland Remembrance and Parade Group's continued commitment to honouring our fallen heroes and recognise the significance of this annual event. We remain committed to working with community groups to ensure such tributes can be delivered safely and appropriately. Can we try and get that idiot on the phone? Sir Stephen Houghton, how can you allow them to continue safely and appropriately, you complete idiot, if you've banned people putting the poppy up? Sir, what did he get the knighthood for? Being an idiot? We're knighting you. Services for idiocy. This is Talk Drive. God.
We're going to select a random family, give them billions of pounds, 7 palaces and castles. They'll live for free. They'll get first-class lifestyles forever. They'll holiday in the world's most luxurious locations, and then their kids will inherit the whole thing and it will start over again. They will want for nothing, ever. In exchange, they'll wave the flag for the country, press the flesh with a few world leaders, hold some banquets. Oh, and they'll get paid for all of this, by the way. No one would vote for that.
Sadiq Khan and the Metropolitan Police Commissioners have continued to deny trauma suffered by grooming gang survivors.
The evidence is sickening. Children as young as 13 raped in London hotels by groups of men. It's all there in the official reports that the mayor personally read. And for I don't know how long now he's been saying that there's no grooming gangs here. But his own documents, the same ones that he responded to, is exactly the same pattern, or a similar pattern to what we saw in Rochdale. The evidence is there in black and white.
Right. Across across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, Amy, push the button now. Oh, God. Right, that's it.
Sports news from The Sun.
Do you see, Sean Custis, what I have to put up with? The crap around here.
Oh, you're not including me in that?
No, not at all.
No, not.
Right.
Anyway, are you going to the big one tonight?
I beg your pardon, madam. It wasn't Amy, it was somebody else. Can I just say you're talking about, no, I'm not going. West Ham, Brentford tonight.
Down the road.
I know it is, but I can't finish in time and get there, and the roads are a nightmare. So I'm going to ensconce myself in my hotel room, listen, because I'm up doing breakfast, bottle of red wine, bit of steak, watch the match.
There's a tube just outside of this office, and it takes you about 15 minutes to get the tube. You can get the tube.
Lovely.
Honestly.
West Ham Brentford tonight. Nuno Espirito, he's had 2 weeks to work on the team. What do you think?
Well,
call it for me.
He's got to, he's going to sneak a win. 1-0, I'll give him.
So?
Yeah, I think he might sneak one, yeah.
I think he might sneak a win.
Yeah,
and actually, as every day goes past, what with Ange Postecoglou being sacked by Nottingham Forest 90 minutes after the end of that Chelsea game at the weekend, maybe Espirito Santo's got a point to prove.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't think any Forest fan wanted him to leave Forest. No. They'd rather him back there, and it looks like they may be getting a similarly pragmatic manager in at Forest now in Sean Dyche, who
yes, I've heard that.
Will be able to work with the tools he's got and apply them slightly differently to Ange, which is to shore up the defence a bit and make sure they don't concede, because they've conceded.
Got a good squad there, but you wouldn't want to work for that guy. You'd be worried about working for Marianakis, wouldn't you?
You would, but in Sean Dyche's case, he's out of the game. He's been working on TalkSport.
Oh, apparently it's Mr. Marianakis to me.
He's been working on TalkSport. Sean, he's a good man. I mean, look, had a brilliant time when he was at Burnley. OK at Everton. Wasn't.
Got the Forest connection though. Ian Wone, Steve Stone. Of course he was sacked at Watford. Everybody gets sacked at Watford, Ryan. Shut up.
Watford crops up every night.
Hey, they lost to Sheffield United.
He was a junior at Forest as well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And I think it'll suit him down to the ground. Whether it's a long-term thing is another matter.
But this is my point. This is my point. And I look at them a bit like I look at West Ham. They were, David Moyes, got to get rid of him. Get Pellegrini, spend 40 million, disaster. Get David Moyes back, 6th, 7th, 8th, winner. Get rid of him. We want expansive football, a bit like Nottingham Forest. Espirito Santo was doing a great job at Notts Forest. I thought a great job, genuinely a great job. And I think you get what you wish for.
It was, but I think Dyche will do OK at Forest. Good. But there is a theory that because Marco Silva is out of contract next summer, and they didn't want to pay the 10 million for him at the moment, that Dyche may be short-term and they might try to appoint Marco Silva next summer.
I have read that. He was the manager of Olympiacos, which is the other team owned by Mr. Marianakis. I can't go into why. Actually, I had a five-fold ACCA and the last team to let me down. This is really depressing me, peeps. I had a really good bet this weekend and it was for quite a lot of money and it was all on Liverpool. Oh, Jesus, Aston Villa won for me. Everybody won for me. What is wrong with Mo Salah? I didn't think I'd hear Jamie Carragher say he should be dropped, but he should be.
Well, it was interesting, wasn't it? When they were chasing the game yesterday, right at the end, when they were 2-1 down, Salah came off.
I know.
He was substituted. Now, when have you seen that before?
Never.
Also, he's signed his new contract now, so there is a theory that you're not as motivated, possibly.
I'm going to throw something in the mix to the head of everything to do with sport at The Sun. I believe that Arne Slot won the Premier League last year with Klopp's team, and I think this Florian Wirtz, I think this Kirkes, I don't think the team looks. It just doesn't. Isak looks like honest to God.
He was a very good player.
He might well have been a good player for Newcastle, but they've taken 130 million now. They just look disjointed, man, and I'm not like you.
They do. There's no doubt about it. They look disjointed. Kirkes was a superb fullback for Bournemouth, but it's a different pressure when you're playing for Liverpool. And even in Isak's case, it's a different pressure playing for Liverpool compared to Newcastle United, where whatever you do at Newcastle, hooray, great, you're pushing us forward towards the top four and getting us a League Cup. Liverpool, we need you to win us the league, mate. You've got to score the goals to win us the league. And
they won't win the league this year.
No, it doesn't look like it.
And I absolutely
people like Van Dijk,
stand by. Yeah.
Is he past his best?
Suddenly, the world's best defender looks a bit one pace. Points at Konate for that first goal, as if you picked the man up. I think, again, and it's like a dagger through my heart. It has to be Arsenal's season. The more I see of it, but Man City, I wouldn't count them out.
No, but let's pay tribute to Harry Maguire, who has been knocked back many, many times. You look at it with some disdain. He's been knocked
only
back
because the
many
bet
times.
lost. Fair play to Harry Maguire.
Many
He could have
times.
come to West Ham and been given a
He could
5-year
have,
deal and
and
be
it fell
captain,
through.
and he kept his nose down. Respect to Harry Maguire.
And he'd have
but
been very good for West
they'll
Ham,
lose
I
to
think.
Brighton next weekend.
Possibly,
Man
yeah.
United.
But he'd have been very good for West Ham, Maguire. Yeah. And you think of the knockbacks he was dropped by Ten Hag, lost the captaincy, been dropped by England. There's periods when he's been out the side, and he's come back and he scores crucial goals for Man United, and he's dragging them up by the bootlaces, and well played to him.
Tomorrow, Newcastle Benfica going?
I am going.
Good man.
Looking forward to it. Jose's in town.
Jose.
Manager Benfica. Of course, he was at Chelsea just the other week
I
as
know.
well.
It'll be fantastic.
I think he's looking forward
How's
to
he
it.
doing domestically? Are they winning?
Yeah, they're doing okay.
Yeah. The amazing, irreplaceable Sean Custis, who will be at St James's Park tomorrow, man. Where
Yes, I won't see you tomorrow.
No.
Sorry.
Tsunami. Thank you very much indeed. All your sport. Don't forget Sunsport every day in the world's best newspaper. We're back after the news at 6, which is next, my friends, on the Home of Free Speech. This is Talk.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Friends, just after 6 o'clock, it's Monday. We're live across the UK on the Home of Free Speech and Common Sense. And I arrived on this show at 4 o'clock thinking that I would talk only about the debacle to do with the poppies, the ridiculous Labour-run council in Hoyland in South Yorkshire. You'll no longer be able to commemorate your fallen heroes by placing a large wooden poppy on each lamppost. It's against health and safety. That sent you over the edge, 0344 499 1000. Do they not understand that these veterans who gave their lives and have ended up in a terrible... Many with PTSD, with injuries. No, I tell you what, let's just be nice, okay? Let's be caring about other people, but not about people who have worked so hard for this country. Sorry, Jamie from Bradford, stop being abusive to your tech ops. I'm not being abusive, they just need to push the buttons a bit quicker. 0344 499 1000. Also, that was bad enough, and then like 3 pieces of news in 1 hour just blew us away. Starmer, I'm going to COP30. Why? Well, because I'm going to get my plane and release some carbon dioxide or whatever it is, and I know they've cut through a rainforest, and it's very important for the next generation. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought there was enough going on in this country, like Labour-run councils banning the poppy, or you know, the grooming gangs, you know, thing that's just kicked down the thing. And today, one of the victims doesn't want to be part of the inquiry because she thinks it's going to be a cover-up. Oh, maybe your mate, you could have approached your mate, Sir Sadiq Khan, because he's been accused of lying today over the fact that children are being raped in London. He won't do anything about it. But don't worry. Oh, maybe you could have stayed, right? Because an Israeli football team supporters aren't allowed to come to Aston Villa because the police think it's going to be a bit, you know, it's going to cause a bit of tension. Palestinian marches, all right. Israelis coming to a football match, no. Oh, yeah, you did send your culture secretary, Lisa Nandy, to the Commons, and she said, we think it's totally wrong. But it's down to the police. Lovely. And then Graham Linehan. Fantastic news earlier on. The poor man that wrote, you know, Father Ted, arrives back from the US in September. 5 armed police. You've said something about gender. Disgusting. We're going to arrest you for hurty words. He's been released today. Everything you've presided over, Starmer, is on its arse. You should be in England making it better. 0344 499 1000. Kevin is in Basingstoke. You're on drive, Kev. How you doing, son?
I'm fine, thank you. First time calling you, so go easy on me.
I beg your pardon?
First time calling you, so go easy on me.
Oh, we've got Kev the Virgin on from Basingstoke. Come on then, Kev, you're all right.
Well, we've had 14 years of austerity, and the Conservatives cut council budgets by billions of pounds.
Yep.
And it's costing councils tens of thousands of pounds to take these flags down. I mean, Durham Council have taken flags down, and they're a reform-run council as well, so it's not just Labour councils. And I mean,
is that a fact? Is that? Can we check that? Is that a fact? Durham Council, which is reform-led, have also taken. I'd love to investigate that. Have also taken flags down. Hello.
Hello. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you.
Is that a fact, Kev? Is that a fact?
Well, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, well, I've looked up online, and they have done. Yeah. I mean,
wow. Well, Reform have a case to answer to. Oh, the Met Police have responded to me. They say it says it will. Oh, Met Police have just announced that it will stop probing. Have you seen this? It will stop probing non-crime hate incidents. This is just a show of mad news. So, do you not think it's against all the efforts of all the people, men and women, who voted for and fought for this country? Do you think it's a disgraceful decision?
Yeah, but I mean, surely there's other ways to do it than put things on lampposts or bridges or whatever. I've seen flags on bridges.
So?
I mean, in fact, one of those flags comes down, there's a road underneath. So if one of those flags comes down and it hits somebody's windscreen, you know, if the council don't take them down, somebody could die and they could be sued for not taking the flags down.
OK, let me ask you this. Do you genuinely think that that's their motivation, or do you think their motivation is that they have an ideology based on, you know, we shouldn't be proud of who we are and what people have done? Do you not think there's more to this than somebody might end up with a flagpole through their windscreen? True question.
Well, I mean...
Do you not think there's an ideology?
No, of course not. That's their job. They're supposed to protect people in their councils, aren't they?
They're supposed to protect people from flagpoles. What about protecting the right for citizens to be able to celebrate the fact that people fought and gave you and I and everybody listening the freedoms they have today?
Yeah, but you can put your flag up in your garden. You don't need to cost council tens of thousands of pounds, do you?
So what are the council going to spend that money on instead? Housing illegal migrants? They don't fill in potholes. I don't see councils lowering council tax. You're going to tell me council tax has gone up because we're removing flagpoles, or because most of them are on the take and don't actually know what they're doing with the local community?
The vast majority of council budget goes on social care, looking after vulnerable people and elderly people. That's where most of their money goes.
I accept that point.
But, you know, they're struck for cash and every penny counts.
So you don't think this is ideology, you think this is money-based?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course.
Let's agree to disagree, but that, my friend, you see, you said treat yourself to... That is what a democracy is about. We can agree to disagree, and we love you being part of it. Basingstoke's a lovely part of the world, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. But, I mean, do you know the people that are behind this fundraising is far-right extremists?
Oh, God, I'm not... No. You see, now you've spoilt the whole call. That is... ideological crap. If you are going to label anybody and everybody who wants to raise the flag or fly a St George's or a Union flag as far right, you are missing the point, and you sound remarkably like Gary Neville, and I'm not being rude. I've got other people to say you're entitled to your opinion. I don't have to agree with it. Thank you for your call, though, my friend. Let's go to... See, I can't even see this. Is this Carl in Liverpool? How are you, Carl?
I'm good, Jeremy. How are you?
Apparently, councils are banning flags on bridges in case one falls off and smashes a windscreen and somebody dies.
Well, that's quite a bit of a crock, isn't it, really?
Are you into hanging flags up?
I've got a flag on I've got a St. George on my house.
You far-right racist thug. Basically, that's what you are.
I'm a veteran as well, so I'm a veteran as well, so I must be even more of a far.
You're a far-right racist veteran thug. Shame on you. You should be on the streets. That's where you should be, shouldn't you?
It's disgusting, Jeremy. I tell myself off every day.
Pardon?
I said I tell myself off every day.
What were you ringing for then, kiddo?
Yeah, this poppy situation. These lefty loons. We know it's not about flags coming down, etc. It's an ideology. It's a way of trying to push their own agenda and stop us from having our voice or to celebrate. What these lefty loons don't understand, apart from men losing their lives, young men, as in children of 13, 14, maybe, I think the youngest, I can't remember how much the youngest was, they lied to go to war for this country. That's fact. There were children that got killed in that war because they lied in the Second World War about their age.
To me, it's disgraceful.
These people, Jeremy, they stand all over that. They rub their feet on it as if to say, like, well, we couldn't care less. But if you didn't have those men fighting for you, and I'm grateful for what they've achieved, you wouldn't have anything, nothing. Your parents wouldn't be here.
Shall I tell you why Kevin from Basingstoke's wide of the mark? And shall I tell you why Linda from Stalybridge is spot on the mark? It's all about ideology, as you quite rightly say. Starmer and Khan, they'll be stood right next to the royal family on November the 11th or whatever day it is. That's the day of my mother's birthday. That was Armistice Day, 11th of the 11th. Putting their wreaths down at the cenotaph in their smart suits. Total goddamn hypocrisy. They should be jumping over all councils, and I include the Reform Council in that. I am not buying, it might fall down and cause a problem. If you're that honest to God, the world has gone mad, okay?
Jeremy, I would, if councils want to take them down, and if I was the government, I would say, well, you do so, but we will take funding from you. There is no way that this should be happening. Veterans across the country will be hanging their heads in shame. When we take that oath, when we swear our oath of allegiance to the Queen and country, we mean that as a group of people.
Can I repeat to you and people listening, because we did have a response from Barnsley Council, and the leader is Sir Steve Houghton. He says, having said, take them down, safety. We appreciate Hoyland Remembrance and Brigade Group's continued commitment to honouring our fallen heroes and recognise the significance of this annual event. We remain committed to working with community groups to ensure such tributes can be delivered safely and appropriately. This man was knighted for services to local government. Honestly, you couldn't write this crap, could you? Carl, are you a red or a blue?
I'm a red.
Jesus, man, what's wrong with Mo Salah?
Can I just say, Jeremy, just before you go quickly, when you say community groups, what communities does he mean? What communities? Is it communities that are offended by the poppy or the St. George's or the Union Jack flag? Because it won't be long before Christmas is also taken.
Stan the man in Cheshire's just said the same. What's next, Jess? Will Barney try and ban Christmas? God help us. I completely agree. Carl, Mo Salah, would you drop him for the next game?
I'd drop him and put Chiesa up front, mate.
Good man. Good to have you on 03444 99 1000, 12 minutes past 6. We say a very good evening. A man who brings a decree of decorum, sensibility, maturity, and he's cheap as well. Benedict Spence, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm sort of raging, and it sort of becomes an almost weekly thing with you, but I just thought today, a little show, talk about Barnsley, about the poppies, and then it's gone completely mad. Where would you like to start? Would you like to start with, let's stick with the poppy ban. Hoyland Council, South Yorkshire. I've just discovered that apparently a Reform Council, I don't know where that was, one of the Reform Councils, so he'll tell me in a sec, Durham, they've also said that flags should come down for safety reasons. Well, what the hell's... This is ideology, isn't it?
I mean, is it ideology? Is it a cop-out? Is it blaming health and safety in order to not have to take difficult decisions, in order to say, oh, well, computer says no? And this is one thing that I did think you might see with a lot of reform-led councils up until we get closer to a general election, is that they'll get in and they'll promise all sorts of things. And then they'll say, oh, actually, we can't do this. We, in fact, have to do this very unpopular thing. And the only way to change that is if we're able to change things at a national level, which is why you will need to vote for us again and again and again until we get into power. It's not the worst strategy in the world, actually, to get in and say, look, actually, our hands are tied. What we need is to do this much larger thing. It almost sounds a little bit like that other thing.
Hold on, B, help me out. Help me out. I've just been elected to Barnsley Council for reform, let's just imagine, and I'm the council leader and I've got a majority. Why can't people keep the flags up then? How have I got to go national on that? I don't get that.
Well, this is the thing. If you're governed by national health and safety laws, for instance, actually national laws will overrule those local laws. And then you'll be able to turn around and say, quite rightly, my hands are tied. I don't want to do this, but this is what the higher-ups say. At which point Farage then, justifiably, will come out and say, this is why you need to give me a mandate at the national level so that I can get rid of these rules that are stopping our councils. You know, and it is the same thing. One of your previous callers was talking about the amount of money that has to be spent on social care, so other things have to be cut, and also they have to spend money on migrants, for instance. They're legally bound to do this, which is why things like potholes and bins are falling by the wayside, because legally they are prioritizing these things that national government tells them they have to do. They can't stop doing that until the government at the national level says, you don't have to do that anymore.
This is why you're the best advisor to have. Are you in a different apartment? Where are you now? Are you some other place? Were you in rehab or something? What's going on?
I'm always in a different place.
Yes. Right. And then the show was going very quietly, and then we've had 3 explosive pieces of information. Let's start with Sir Drury Starmer is to attend COP30. He's going to travel 9,000 miles. We don't know if he's going to share a plane with the Bacon Boy. That's Bacon Butty Boy, Ed Millipede. Or he's going on his own. We suspect, and it was quite interesting, actually, somebody was saying earlier that it was Jack Elsom, that as his party is bleeding votes, it's not just to the Reform Party. He's losing them now to the Greens. He's losing them to the Fruit and Nut Party, the U Party, possibly as well to the Liberal Democrats, because no doubt Ed Davey addresses a tree for a hug. Is this touching the forelock to these people? Why is he... there's enough going on here, man, isn't there?
I mean, there is enough going on here, and I think he'd rather forget about all the stuff that's going on here, because everything he touches turns to excrement. And the thing is, as we know full well, Sir Keir Starmer does not prioritise, actually, his perception at home. What is important to him is the idea of the international community. He thinks that this is what's important. And we can see this in the fact that he was prepared to give away the Chagos Islands for the sake of international prestige, as much as that thing exists. The way that he's tried to sort of insert himself into the Israel-Hamas peace deal, and, you know, trying to recognise the state.
That didn't go very well, did it, to be honest? That wasn't his finest. Or just go to the back, little boy. You didn't win a voucher. Go.
I particularly enjoyed the fact that they put Georgia Maloney on stage at that exact moment, so that everybody could see her face going like that, as Starmer was made to look like a complete fool.
I liked it when Trump... I can't do an impression. Can I say you're a beautiful lady? See, if you say that in politics, it could be all over, but I'll take my chances. You're a beautiful lady. Brilliant. Yeah, Starmer looked like an idiot. To me, I think I mean, maybe I'm wrong, I'm told. You could answer this. People say to me, Jez, you don't understand, the majority of Great Britons want us to go to net zero, do they? Do they? Or no, they don't. Surely they don't.
No. What I think the majority of Britons want is for the environment to be clean and to be pleasant for people in this country to experience. That does not mean, and I think what a lot of eco-loons do, is take that. People would like the countryside to be healthy, they want their parks to be healthy, they want there to be plentiful water supplies and the rivers to be clean. And what the eco-loons do is say, well, that means you agree with us and you want the net zero and you want all the things that we're peddling because we're the environmentalists and we know what's best. And actually, once people dig down into the details of what this encompasses, they go, hang on, this is insane. Yeah. You don't need to do all of these things in order to achieve a nice environment. No other country seems to do this. All it seems to do is cost me a lot of money and get lots of jobs.
It's virtue signalling. I would be the most unpopular I mean, the Friends of the Earth would probably dump all over me at the first opportunity. I'm sure that the climate is changing, and I'm sure in 100 years they might have colder winters, hotter summers or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, I'm also for now and the problems that we've got in this country. When you're talking about spending even more money, billions of pounds that we haven't got, and bearing in mind that we are skint anyway, it doesn't make practical sense. And then you look at the other countries in the world who aren't playing ball, and then you look at that great Mike Graham quote is, what happens if you get to net zero? Would you get a medal? And then you think, well, hold on a second, if you can't create enough electricity anyway, you're going to have to import it and that'll cost more money. And then the screaming thing in my head is, we're skint and we've got liquid bleeding gold under the North Sea, but no, we're not going to do that because that'll upset the environmentalists. It doesn't make any sense, man. It doesn't.
I mean, the constituency where I'm originally from in the UK is in England, is one of the places that returned a Green MP at the last election.
Did you vote Green?
I did not, no. But those people saw fit to. And if you go there now, what you will see is poster after poster after billboard saying no to these solar farms, saying no to these pylons bringing things from the wind farms in the North Sea. People are furious about what this is because that is not what they think the green agenda is. What they think it is, as I say, a green and pleasant land, and priority is placed on the health of the environment. What they did not vote for was for their entire existence, the countryside, to be papered over with solar panels, which is what they're being offered instead. That's what's being pushed on them. And they sit there and they go, hang on a second, this doesn't seem very green at all. But that is, of course, what they've been slightly sold. And that's what many members of the British public, when they're asked, how do you feel about the environment? They go, yes, I want the environment. Who wouldn't want the environment to be good? And then they turn around a couple of years later and they think, hang on, when did the countryside get concreted over so that people in London could have solar panels?
Here, completely agree. Also, then, of course, this argument about the football game at Aston Villa, Maccabi Tel Aviv, Israeli team. Earlier this week, we discovered that West Midlands police have decided that they shouldn't come. They're going to ban them from coming because there's too much pressure and it's going to be too outrageous and there's going to be fighting and whatever. Everybody's gone up in arms quite rightly and gone, hold on a minute, we're just targeting the Israelis here. There's football hooliganism everywhere. The local MP, who's one of those MPs who doesn't really know where he represents because he only stood on a pro-Gaza ticket, Ayub Khan, has said, yes, it's a very sensitive issue in this area. So we had Lisa Nandy today in the House of Commons standing up and saying, you know, this is outrageous. We as a government disagree violently with this, but it's a matter for the police. OK, so basically you're trying to say we're appalled, but you're also trying to shore up your Muslim support inside Birmingham by saying, I think it is absolutely outrageous. And I said to somebody earlier who came on the phone, you can't say that, the police are independent, are they? This government has a majority, they should be all over this, shouldn't they, Benedict? Why are you not banning Palestinian marches? Why are you not but you're going to ban a bunch of Israelis coming, are you? Racism's racism.
Yeah, this is a sign of a state that is just absolving itself of responsibility. Effectively, what it's doing is it's admitting that it can't police the second city of the UK. You know, I argue over whether or not it's the second city, but that's what's being said, is that they can't actually guarantee that people living in that city will not behave like...
Oh, Benedict, you'll love this. Breaking news for you. We've got this. This is what Ayub Khan, he is the independent MP for a part of Birmingham. He stood and got elected against... It was a Labour seat forever. He stood up and said, pro-Gaza. And he beat the... So Labour are terrified. This is what he said in the House of Commons literally a few seconds ago about the Tel Aviv fans. Let's do it.
Just this morning, I saw a video of Jewish community leaders standing outside the Villa Park saying they too support the banning of this team. I will release that video outside of this chamber. But those who are not welcome in Aston are hooligans that have a long history of violence and vile racism. Chants like F the Arabs, we will rape their daughters, that there are no schools in Gaza because there are no children left in Gaza. It's these hooligans that are not welcome.
That was Ayub Khan. I must point out to you, Benedict, that earlier the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, strongly condemned him, Ayub Khan, and Zara Sultana as well. But for me, let's just say that there is reason to believe that some of those fans might behave in not a great way. How is it that we're just talking about Israeli fans? There surely must be other fans. No, I'm being serious. To me, it's a bit like the Eurovision Song Contest. I don't happen to agree with everything Netanyahu's done. I don't, as a father of six, like what I see. But I am sick to death of people telling me about how this country has racism, and I find it all abhorrent. But apparently anti-Semitism is not as bad. It's appalling for the Jewish community.
Well, this is the thing. If we were going to be banning people for chants, Celtic wouldn't be allowed fans anywhere, ever. I mean, we've got to just be honest here. And I don't hold a particular, grudge against Celtic, but, their fans are pretty clear about what their political views are and their support for certain groups that are banned as terrorist organizations. But that's sort of neither here nor there. If you're going to take that sort of standard and say any kind of chanting means you can't come here, an awful lot of football clubs across Europe are not going to be allowed to come here. Because I'm sorry to say this, actually, lots of the world is not particularly enlightened on all sorts of things. So if that's the standard that you're going to take, then it's going to be impossible, first and foremost. On the subject of, a history of violence or anything like that, look, there was riots that broke out in Amsterdam when Maccabi Tel Aviv weren't there, but it's quite clear that that was instigated not by Maccabi fans and not by Ajax fans either, but by, again, it's that expression, members of the local community who just took exception to them being there. And there's been no suggestion here either that Aston Villa fans are going to be causing trouble or worry about there being trouble. There's been no suggestion from the Maccabi fans that they have an axe to grind with Aston Villa fans. They've never played each other before. All it comes down to is the fact that there are some people in Birmingham who have decided they don't want this particular kind of person, Jewish Israeli people. They don't want them there, and they are effectively going to threaten violence, because that's what this is here. Let's be clear here. When they say, well, we can't guarantee safety, that's what that means. It means they're going to start a riot if these people are allowed to come here. And that is a direct challenge to the authority of the state. If the state doesn't come down hard on those people, well, then it's abdicated its responsibilities.
Could not agree. Who do you support, by the way?
Liverpool.
Oh, dear. Thanks, mate. Listen, really appreciate every time you come on and great input. Thank you. Benedict Spence, Conservative commentator. What do you want to talk about in the next 35 minutes? Head of Kevin O'Sullivan. Do you want to talk about how poppies are banned by Barnsley Council? Because apparently it's a health and safety feature. A load of old pony. What about Sadiq Khan? Today he's been confronted for covering up the fact there are grooming gangs in London, but he said there weren't any. We just heard that the Met Police have said we're not going to investigate non-crime hate investigations anymore. Don't know what that means. Starmer's going to COP30, wish he would stay there. Maccabi Tel Aviv, Israeli fans can't come to Birmingham. Apparently that's because of, I think you know why. And Graham Linehan, the man who wrote Father Ted. That case has been dropped because the police aren't going after real people, they're going after hate crime. Maybe that's the right... Maybe just a few minutes after Linehan wrote that, the police have come out and said we're barking mad. It's 6:25. Where's the time gone? Back in 3.
I can tell you the reason the match was called off is because the Hapoel Tel Aviv fans threw 20 military-grade smoke grenades onto the pitch, and they couldn't clear the smoke.
Yeah.
That's why the game was called off, and there was then a bit of argy-bargy afterwards, bearing in mind this was 75% Hapoel fans in the stadium and only 25% Maccabi. Everything I'm seeing here says the Maccabi fans were barely involved at all.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Almost 6:30. I don't know where Monday's gone. Kev O'Sullivan here with the political asylum from 7 o'clock. Harry Cole saves the West on his own from 10. This is Jeremy Kyle on Talk Drive, and we say very... Oh, actually, I'm going to a phone. You'll have to wait. Chloe, just put the camera on her. Dobby.
Hello.
Dobby's in the house. Dobby came in and said, my mother... I'm in trouble with my mother. Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red. Like, Roxanne! Because Roxy, old Foxy Roxy, tuned in the last 2 Mondays to see you, and you weren't here.
Yeah,
And
I
I'd
know.
have thought
I'd
Foxy...
been a bad daughter, I forgot to tell her.
Why didn't Foxy Roxy tune in to see me? Ah, Roxanne! You don't have to put on a... What's your dad called?
Ashley.
Bothered. Anyway, on a serious note, quick call and just hold your thoughts. See what I have to do because of my eyes now. It's my age. Leicestershire, Kieran, a very good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Jeremy. I'm very, very well, thank you. And you sound very good as well, by the way. You're carrying on today. So
Thank you very much.
Enjoying that.
Are you a drive time virgin? This is the first time you've phoned?
It's the first time I've called, yes.
Are you nervous?
A little bit.
Yeah, I am as well. Let's try and get through. Let's try and get through this together. Right, what you got, kiddo?
Well, I was listening to the scandal regarding the poppies, and I picked out two. Well, first of all, the ex-serviceman came on, really heartfelt, really enjoyed that. You had a gentleman on not so long ago saying that it was. The flagpoles might fall down and kill people if they fell in the right place. And there's also a very sensible gentleman came on just after that saying that they have to do that because it's a national thing and not by each council. Well, I'm looking at the mayor of Barnsley Council on a Facebook page right at this moment, and he's wishing all his Jain, Hindu, Sikh and Buddhist communities happy Diwali because they're putting street lights up today. On lampposts where there aren't any poppies, of course. And I just thought to myself, there's a little bit of hypocrisy there. And I'm presuming they'll put Christmas lights up, much as I agree with that, and I don't think they're a danger to anybody, but presumably they'll put Christmas lights on as well.
That's a really, really interesting point from you, actually. Just for people who just didn't hear what Kieran said. He said he's been doing an investigation to Barnsley Council. They'll put Christmas lights up. They're putting lights up for Diwali, but apparently poppies or flags, that's a danger. Great point, my friend. Are you new to Talk?
Not so long, actually. My sister put me onto you, and I've enjoyed it from day one. I even turn off Chris Moyles on Radio X.
Who?
To Julia in the morning.
Who?
Chris Moyles, sorry.
Oh, yeah, that was in another life, yeah. I dealt with that before. Thanks for coming on. You're a top man. Keep listening. Kieran in Leicestershire, thank you very much indeed. You see, that's a really interesting point. Chloe, Dobby. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
How's your dog?
He's good. He's good. He's ready for Halloween now. He's got a Halloween outfit.
What does that mean? My house, honestly. Can I just tell you? I'm scared to sit in my house now. There are ghosts, there's skeletons, there's I came downstairs this morning, right? Turned the alarm off, just a cup of tea, you know. Bloody flashing lights, there's ghosts, there's spiders everywhere and webs. Honestly, in the toilet, there's tarantulas hanging. It's ridiculous.
On the way in this building, downstairs in reception, there were a bunch of little kids wearing Santa hats. Halloween hasn't even happened yet. It's mid-October and they've already got the Santa hats out. What's going on?
You're just a killjoy. Wait till you have kids.
Says you. You just moaned about Halloween.
Yeah, well, I have to pay the bill. Oh, we just spent another £700,000 on, you know, well, we wanted a ladder. We've got ladders, it is like, honestly, and the really sad thing about my house is, which I'm going to admit now, do you know about the hamster?
No.
Oh, great. Mrs. Carr just texts me about 3 weeks ago and says, listen, I've given in to the kids. When you get home tonight, there's a hamster. I don't want a hamster in my house. I don't like the smell of hamster poo. I'm not interested in feeding this thing. And I make it abundantly clear that Stripey, right, that's its name, I'm not having anything to do with it, right? The only bloody person this hamster comes out to speak, to do any, is when I speak, right? And now at night, it's 10:30 at night, I sit there, you know, just turn the television, right, Stripey, and I'm bloody up against the cage talking to this hamster. And when the kids come down, it disappears into its hut.
No,
So now I feel
my
sorry.
parents never let me have a hamster or a rabbit.
Roxanne!
I really wanted a rabbit.
Roxanne,
Wasn't
what
allowed
sort
one.
of mother were you? That's what you need to answer. This
My
poor
auntie successfully had a pet hamster underneath her bed, hidden from my grandparents for years without them finding out.
See, I'd smell it. Anyway, let's get to business.
Every time I come here, about half the time gets spent talking about pets somehow.
I know, there we go. Where are you on this poppy scandal? Because I'm going to add a caveat here. A Labour-run council has axed a Remembrance Day poppy display amid its crackdown on flag flying. Locals in Hoyland, South Yorkshire, will no longer be able to commemorate their fallen heroes by placing a large wooden poppy on each lamppost for health and safety reasons. Now, the leader of the council, I don't know where that's gone now because I added up, but the leader of the council's come out and said, no, we totally support this. Great point by your man there on the phone, that there'll be Christmas lights and there'll be whatever. For me, it's ideology. Then somebody drops into it that actually Reform in Durham have done exactly the same. Now, Benedict said that will be because it's from a national level, that's where the rules are, and this will be reformed. But this is interesting. From Billy in Durham. Jez, with regard to the flags being taken down by Durham County Council, being from Durham, flags are still very much proudly flying in almost, if not all, villages and towns. I have, however, seen on rare occasions council workers removing flags from telegraph poles for access or safety reasons, but they even return the flags to people and advise them of better places to hang them. They aren't removing them willy-nilly like it sounds.
Now, when it comes to flags, as opposed to the poppies for remembrance, which is a slightly different situation, the flags is people willy-nilly putting them up. And technically, it is illegal to put anything you want on a lamppost without permission, without applying to the council, right? But we all use common sense. If someone puts up a poster for their missing cat on a lamppost, we leave it, right? And so
what, the cat or we leave the thing? No. Oh,
if someone puts a poster on a lamppost for a missing cat or something, we just leave it be. And a lot of councils have until now sort of turned a blind eye to the flags because they recognise actually this is patriotic, it's a good thing. We're not going to cause a fuss even if it's technically illegal. But it is difficult for the councils to come out and actively say we support this if it's technically against the law.
Don't you think it's part of a bigger ideology though?
What, tearing down the flags?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, because they've got double standards, right? So they have no issue, many councils have no issue with Palestine flags being all over the lamppost. They didn't have a problem with that and say that was a health and safety issue, right? Now, the Poppy Saga is a little bit different because this is specifically for a remembrance event where they will put in an application at least 10 days in advance to Barnsley Council to say what they want to put up and where. And Barnsley Council, my understanding is they have said that for health and safety reasons, you can't possibly put something on a lamppost above head height that would require a ladder because it's too dangerous to go on a ladder. And the people organising...
Sorry, it's dangerous to go on a ladder.
It's too dangerous to go on a ladder. But I'm sure they will use a ladder to put up the Christmas lights, won't they, right?
Or
so
as
clearly
that guy
they're
just
making
said,
this
not
up.
in any way. He balanced it. He said Diwali lights are going up, Christmas lights are going up, the ladder...
But apparently
I
a
find
ladder's
myself
too
on a
dangerous.
national radio programme debating with Roxanne's daughter, right, about a ladder and stuff. The truth is there's an ideology in this country, and I've had it. Somebody said to me this weekend, I don't know who it was. You do realise, don't you, that the flag flying is... Gary Neville's right. You know, it's all white, middle-class people just trying to get rid of all the migrants. It's racist. I don't believe flying the flag or having a poppy, showing respect to the veterans or proudness in your country. I believe that the people who are against it are apologists who would have us trash everything we've ever done, and they are the sorts of people who think that Great Britain should be ashamed of its past. There's plenty in everybody's past that we look at and probably think we've done differently, but to me it's a scary ideology that doesn't go away. It gets stronger every day, and I think that's appalling.
Yeah, I think a lot of bad things happen when a country is no longer proud of itself and starts loathing itself. I think that's really dangerous.
Padmini in Tenerife makes a really good point. He says, Mr. Carr, do you think they thought about health and safety when they sent our men and women to war in the 40s? It's interesting, isn't it?
No, and I'm sure that with this Poppy Saga and the flag tearing down saga, that those that died fighting for this country, they will be turning in their graves if they knew about what is going on. And it's really a great shame that they can't... So these poppies that are going up in Barnsley, I understand, well, are supposed to be going up, but cannot. My understanding is each individual poppy has the name of a fallen hero from that town. Those will no longer all be going up to honour those individuals.
Clay and Folkestone makes your point regarding taking down the poppies, the Union flag and the flag of St George. I bet if it was a Palestinian flag or a rainbow flag
there
or
would
others,
be no
it would
issue.
be. Then, but that's appalling, man.
Yeah.
I've called you man. You're not a man, obviously. Let's talk about the other big news of the hour.
No, don't assume my gender. It's 2025, Jeremy.
What does that mean? Have I upset you? Am I going to be cancelled?
I identify
I'm
as a
old-fashioned, Chloe. Roxanne will understand
You know
this.
I'm joking,
I remember
right?
when women had wombs, not willies. You know what I'm saying? Richard Voles.
I do have a womb, luckily.
A womb. Richard Voles. He says, because big news last hour is Keir Starmer. I'm going to COP.
Oh.
I'm flying 9,000 miles to COP. I think, and I actually have to agree with Jack Elsom here, that he's sort of starting to realise that the reform vote isn't coming back, and we now need to start appealing to Polanski, whose vote for the Greens is going up, and that madcap idiot Ed Davey, and the Fruit and Nut Party with Zara Sultana. She doesn't like saying that. She gets upset, apparently. Whatever. And actually, he's flying to Brazil because he's just trying to please all the people all the time. Although Richard in Bristol says it's not. He's going for a freebie because he knows Trump isn't going and he isn't going to be told off.
Probably a bit of both. But, I mean, the hypocrisy with this COP conference, I mean, I was just absolutely dismayed when we saw that aerial footage of them chopping down the rainforest to build a highway in order to escort in all of these leaders from around the world.
And will he go on the same plane as Ed Miliband? Or will they go on
I'm sure they all have their own separate private jets with champagne and everything. I mean, the hypocrisy is just off the scale. And you know that Keir Starmer's had over 40 trips abroad since he became Prime Minister.
And wouldn't you think he'd want to be here to sort out the mess in this country, don't
he doesn't want to face the music. He's clearly avoiding it, right? He's always gallivanting, because when he goes to conferences like this, people are actually nice to him and he gets all this free food and champagne. It's quite enjoyable, unlike being in Westminster when he gets, you know, absolutely battered by the opposition. I mean, he misses loads of PMQs so that he can go on all these trips, and then he had the audacity the one time that Nigel Farage wasn't at PMQs to have a go at him, like, oh, the member for Clacton thinks that it's not important to be here. And I'm like, hello, how many times have you missed PMQs to go on some other trip abroad? I know there's a lot going on in the world and a lot of wars going on, and there are some times where there is a genuine reason for him to go abroad and go to a meeting, but this, I mean, there's just no excuse for it. And I think you're right that he is realising the reform vote isn't coming back, and the last hope that he has to try and up Labour's prospects in the polls is to actually go a bit more left-wing. Up
Labour's prospects. You could have changed that sentence into something else. Chloe Dobbs, thank you so much indeed. What is it, 20 to 7? We're live across the UK. Talk Drive is on 0344 499 1000. We're here until 7. Kev is next. Chloe, thank you. Back in 3.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. It's my favourite part of the show, only because this man creates, I don't know, such excitement, and he believes that pink is a manly colour. John Lucas, night news editor, known as Sarge. By the way, before we do the paper tomorrow, have you accepted my offer to come out on the... Jodie's absolutely insistent that you come on the Christmas do.
Yep, I'll be there. Yeah.
Will Barker's now involved.
Barker, that doesn't surprise me.
Jack Elsom's now involved.
Good man.
So, you know I don't drink, so I hope you'll be... We're going to get absolutely battered, aren't
Barker will be able to make up your pints, I'm sure.
Is Barker a bit of a drinker?
I've heard he does like a beer. Yes.
And what about Ryan? Ryan's sort of 8 or 9 pints a night, Ryan.
Sabres.
Well, look at the legs on it. I just sit there with my glass of red wine. I'll be fine. Good to have you on. Tomorrow's paper, so much. I mean, Chris, we've been hit during the show with COP30. We've been hit with the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. We've been hit with the case against Graham Linehan and all this sort of stuff. But the main news story, and it's been done brilliantly by Matt Wilkinson at the team in the Sun, Prince Andrew. Virginia Giuffre has also accused him from beyond the grave Andrew's team of hiring internet trolls to tarnish her name after she made bombshell sex abuse allegations.
That's right. Well, yeah, look, as you say, very newsy day, but this is the story that just keeps coming. This is from Virginia's book. Obviously, we've had absolute humiliation for
the worrying thing today was that you know the Met Police are actively looking at the fact that he'd try and get one of his close protection officers to dish dirt on her. Now, God alive, this
is... Well, I mean, we've had it from a source today who said it would have been very unlikely that an officer would have done that sort of thing at his behest, but just the inappropriateness of allegedly trying to put pressure on an officer to do that. We had Palace sources saying that this needs to be looked at properly,
where does it end? I mean, none of us know the answer to that.
I mean, he's been obviously he wasn't stripped of his titles in the end. There was a middle ground, because that could have got very, very complicated.
You know, I'm not a journalist, but you know what I said to Matt, right? I'd have money with anybody that... I know Prince Charles promised his mother. I know he probably doesn't want people out there like Harry and Meghan putting the boot in because the whole Republican debate. I bet he got money. I bet he said, I'll thingy if you pay the rent. I don't put anything past Prince Andrew.
Yeah, well, he's got this... He's holed up at Royal Lodge. It's a 31-room mansion, and I think we were looking at it today, and it's got 8... It's a huge estate in itself. It's got 8 cottages for all the staff and police quarters and all the rest of it. It's, and that's the last thing that he's got at the moment.
Costing 500 grand a year to keep.
Yes, and he's had to find the funds privately somehow, and that in itself is quite... There's lots of questions about where that money comes from as well.
It was his mother's... It's not going anywhere, this. And the bigger issue, and you're right in the Sun to follow it like you do, is what does this do for all the Republicans who think the royal family is a dead duck? And it's how they handle this. The other story, and you are so spot on to have this... A sex abuse victim of the Rotherham grooming gangs has resigned from the government's inquiry survivor panel before it's even started over concerns about its ability to get to the truth. Fiona Goddard.
Yeah, well, that's right. So Labour, the government didn't really want to have this grooming gangs inquiry. If you remember, they really dragged their feet on it. There was lots of insistence at the start that, well, we don't really need it because it's covered by all these different inquiries that we've had, regional inquiries and all the rest of it. They finally said, look, we will do something, but we still don't know how this inquiry is supposed to look. A lot of the big inquiries we have are judge-led. We know this isn't judge-led, and that is part of the problem, we understand. So this is Fiona Goddard, herself, victim of a grooming gang. She was supposed to be on a victim survivor panel as part of this inquiry. How many people are supposed to be on this? Not quite sure.
They haven't even organised a chair yet.
Yeah, it's not organised. Well, and that is part of the problem, is that, as I understand it, the chairman could be a social worker, could be a police officer. And
her Maggie Oliver.
Well, they're two professions that are likely to come under the biggest amount of criticism.
Absolutely. So, marking your own bleeding homework,
you can't
again and again.
Exactly. So the point is, well, look, can't we get I think Robert Jenrick's come out today and said, look, if we can't get a judge, a British judge, can't we get someone from the Commonwealth who's got no skin in the game? But
the skin in the game should be the truth for these young girls.
Yeah.
It's beyond me. As was the Louvre. The audacious heist at the Louvre over the weekend bears all the hallmarks of being carried out by the notorious Pink Panther gang. Why don't I know what the Pink Panther gang is? I can't even say it. Pink Panther.
The Pink Panthers. Well, they get their name from a scene in the Pink Panther movie where a diamond thief hides a rock in a jar of hand cream or something like that, and they did that exact thing.
Did they?
At Graff in the West End back in... It was early 2000s. So the Pink Panthers are mainly former Yugoslavian soldiers from Croatia, Serbia mainly, and they're very, very highly organised. They use lots of deception and tricks. They don't use a lot of violence.
They wear a high-vis jacket.
They use a huge amount of planning, and yeah, exactly. So what they've done, because the wing where all this jewellery, it's essentially the French crown jewels.
But this is a 7-minute raid at the world-famous Paris Museum on Sunday morning. How would you, Ryan's going, sod the break, how would you take the crown jewels and sell them? Because everybody would know that diamond was from a crown for the King of France.
Exactly. What the cops are saying is that they will probably... these won't have been stolen to order. They'll melt these down, they'll reshape the diamonds, and they'll flog them somewhere on the black market. It's all fascinating stuff. Mike Sullivan, now crime editor's put all this together, so that'd be a good read.
This is brilliant. If you don't watch Clarkson's Farm, you should do. Jeremy Clarkson is helping his pet pig, Richard Ham, named after Richard Ham. The run to the litter. I don't know if you've seen that. Amy, have you seen Clarkson's Farm? Richard Ham was the run to the litter. The porker has become a TV star after the run to the litter was saved from the chop on the telly show. Clever Swine Jezza, see what you did here? See, Clever Swine, see what you did here? Has applied to the UK's Intellectual Property Office to trademark the name. He wants clothes, homewares, gardening gear and even cookbooks with Christmas decorations under the pigs. He's got it licked, and he's going to stand against, allegedly, Ed Miliband. In the Doncaster thing, he said, I love you. The tiny runt of the litter melted hearts when he failed to put on weight and had to be separated from his piglet siblings for fear of being bullied. It's like Ryan at school.
Yeah, that's it. So very lucky pig who's been saved, and he's become a fan favourite, and now Jeremy is hoping that he's going to pay him back. So there's going to be a whole... If you're a big fan of Clarkson's Farm, I'm sure lots of people
Have you watched
are.
it?
I've seen it, yeah. It's very good.
You didn't sell that to me at all.
No, it's good.
I've been there. It's unbelievable.
I haven't been there.
Oh my God! I don't even know why it's unbelievable, because he's just. He used to be in the dressing room next to me for years in Manchester. He was doing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Right.
So we used to go on the lift together. Extraordinary human being. But Clarkson's Farm is just brilliant watching, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I want to go to the pub for sure.
Of course you do.
Yeah. It's.
Why don't we? There you are. Why don't we go to Jeremy Clarkson's pub for our Christmas do? It'd be a minibus. I don't like minibuses, do you?
Well, yeah, who's going to drive it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I could drive it. I don't drink.
Yeah, there you go.
Brilliant. Great paper tomorrow. The Virginia Giuffre Prince Andrew stuff isn't going away, and as I say, they've done great work on that. The grooming inquiry mess doesn't go away. Mike Sullivan, great stuff on the Louvre raid. Is it Louvre?
The Louvre. I'm not going to do a French accent.
No, go on. The boys are watching. Go on.
Le Louvre. Something like that.
Very impressive. Yeah? Can you say Pink Panther?
Le Pink Panther.
I love it. Brilliant. Johnny Lucas, are you back tomorrow?
Yes.
Good. Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. That was your newspaper tomorrow. The Sun, go and buy it. It's the best. We're back in 3.
Narrowing your appeal to ex-Corbynistas is not my idea of bold politics. What we should be doing is convincing people who don't already agree with us. Everybody has to benefit from green politics done properly. We are not addressing the white working class populations, for example, right? So when they're protesting against asylum hotels, our take is to join the anti-racist movement, who were proved wrong. Genuine equality, genuine egalitarianism would stand up for the rights of those girls who were assaulted.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
At 5 to 7, we're live across the UK. Kev here in literally 4 minutes. I came to this country 20 years ago. I'm Polish. I respect your values. If I don't like it, then I would leave. What will Christmas be banned next, says Marek. Stephen says, hi, Jess, a great show. It's been confirmed today that Prince Andrew has rolled itself out of being... Oh, he's ruled himself out of being the next person to star in the Meerkat adverts to avoid damage to his reputation. He's also turned down Strictly Come Dancing as he's worried about the impact on his reputation. I see what you did there. Gary stammers. I'm not going to say a word. Gary from Bristol here. I must say fair play to Lisa Nandy today, calling out the vile Zara Sultana and Ayub Khan and the rest of the Muslim independents as anti-Semitic. Their statements just now were purely racist and anti-Semitic and vile, and sums up the state of this country right now. Who, says Margaret in Birmingham, is running this country? It's not a waste of space. Starmer, no poppies, no flags, wrapping migrants in cotton wool. He can give away the Chagos, but he cannot leave this country because he's got no backbone, and frankly, he's a bit of a... Lee's in Bournemouth. Hi, Jez. I hope they do ban the poppies on lampposts, because if they do, it will spark such a backlash that the whole country, forget the lampposts, will be covered in them. Every park, every council, every public building will be drowning in them. Jez, as a Barnley resident, or even as a Barnley resident, I can categorically tell you the councillors are jokers, are two local MPs, one of whom is Dan Jarvis, who tried to explain the Chinese spy collapse in the House of Parliament, but not very well. Case rested. Jez, I've just checked, and Aston Villa fans have history of hooliganism themselves. I'm guessing Ayub Khan, West Midlands Police, etc., will be asking for their travel to be stopped to away matches in future. That's from Andy and Thatcham. Oh my God, there's loads of you. Oh no, that's too... No. Kev's in Southampton. When Saints play Pompey, it's a huge police operation at both ends. They do it because they want to. Very interesting. Finally to Leeds, Steve-o! Steve, you got 30 seconds or not even a minute, me old son. What do you want to say?
Evening, Jeremy. You on top form tonight?
Thank you.
Just a quick one. I live outside a really bad junction on a road near me. Several people have been injured in accidents, even killed in car crashes. We applied to the council. They said, hey, it's health and safety. Until a certain number of people have died, we can't put lights in. Barnsley Council, I live in Yorkshire. I read the Yorkshire Evening Post. I've never heard a story of massive amounts of council workers falling off ladders on lampposts and being killed, or pedestrians in Barnsley being attacked by wooden poppies over the last 5 years, which they've always done over the last 5 years. So where's the argument for health and safety?
Right, I'm going to read out, actually, it's a great call. Don't think me rude. I'm going to let you listen to the response because I've got to go to Kev. Councillor Stephen Hatton, who is the leader of Barnsley Council, been at him all day. He's just sent me this. The council fully support the respectful display of poppies on lighting columns as a mark of remembrance across the borough. We remain committed to working with community groups to ensure such tributes can be delivered safely and appropriately. To make it safer and easier, we recommend fitting the poppies just above head height. This means no one has to use self-supporting